Hello, beautiful people and the ones that are not so beautiful. Hello to you too. Hi everyone, hope you're feeling good, feeling funky and feeling fresh, and welcome to another what's to be an amazing episode of the Receipts podcast. It's your girl Tolly T.
And just call me Audrey.
And we have a very incredibly talented guest in the building. Not only are you an award-winning journalist, not only are you a documentary maker, and then you're a DJ. On top of that, you present radio and television.
When you said talented, I was like,
Where is she at? Yinka Bokinni!
Hello, gorgeous girl.
Hello, my honey. How are you?
Welcome, hon. Hi. I'm so happy to be here. Like, genuinely.
No, we're guests to have you here. When our producer was like, Yinka, I was like, yeah, that's our girl. Yeah, sure. I was like, why didn't she just DM us? Like, why are you going through proper things? Just going to be like, I'm coming on Wednesday.
You can't win, you know. Because it's just like, you know, like, I mean, we don't mind if our friends like DM us, but then other people might be like, oh, do you know what, let's do it the proper way.
I think I only say the proper way when I don't want them on.
Yeah.
It's like, you're my friend, but like, what are you going to talk about?
No, it's actually so true.
If there's certain people, I'm going to out myself. There's some people that ask us, oh, if you just like contact our producer, because please allow me.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
I think we all have the same way. Like, even when people want me to do things, if it's something that I want to do, I'm like, no, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But the second I'm like, oh, so Courtney's email.
Oh my God. My agent is my favourite bad guy. I'm like, if we just send him a nice note, and then we can just go from there. Because there's some things you just don't want to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
This relationship has felt like, I've known you since I was at university. Since we were like, 18?
Yeah.
And do you know what? I've always wanted to talk to you about this. You are someone whose image has changed. I need you to set the scene. I remember when I first met you. You didn't go to Brunel, did you?
No, so everyone thinks I went to Brunel, because I used to hang out there.
All the time.
Because my uni was boring.
Where did you go?
I went to UCL.
Okay.
It's not far.
That's kind of local.
Yeah, and it's not a campus uni.
And you did law as well, so you was even very serious.
Oh my God.
So I need a good time.
Liquid.
The SU bar.
That you know liquid and you didn't even go to Brunel.
I used to sleep in Gal Break.
Yeah.
Oh my God, no, you are like an alumni.
I was in Brunel all the time.
So to everyone who thinks that I went to Brunel, everyone goes, brew what? I'm like, brew
what?
I didn't go there. I'm a usurper. Like, I'm actually an imposter.
What do you guys call each other?
You Brunel people, you go brew
what? What did
a
UC? What do you guys call each other?
You know damn well they didn't have anything.
Yeah, they did. They weren't cool like that. Yeah. What did Hertfordshire people call themselves? They had a chant.
They have a chant.
Oh, they
I've
did.
got no idea. I don't know.
Because like you, I spent time in Hertfordshire. Do you know everybody had their uni when they used to spend time in? I spent my time in Hertfordshire University. See? Brunel alumni, Hertfordshire Hall. No, joking.
No, it's actually true.
Actually joking. And okay, so Yinka's look. So when I first met Yinka was the, lack of a better term, stereotypical baddie.
Yeah.
Really?
You were? Are you really?
This is news.
You were.
I wore the same jumper every day.
No, but you were a baddie.
You were.
Like in the way of the very like
clean
way baddie.
Like the early 2010s baddies.
2010 baddies. Yeah.
No, I see why you say that.
Yeah.
But it wasn't accurate. Like, so when we met, I remember, so what were we, like 19?
Yeah, 18, 19 vibes, yeah.
Which is obviously like 3 years ago.
Of course.
Yeah,
And
21.
Come on, like, just a baby girl. No, but like I'm somebody who always just expresses myself through what I wear and how I do my hair or my makeup or like tattoos or whatever it is. And when I met you, I worked in a tattoo shop. So I think I probably had like 3 or 4 tattoos and they weren't visible.
They weren't visible.
Because I have a rule that, if you haven't got any tattoos and you want to get one, get it in a place that you can't see it all the time.
Yeah.
So it doesn't annoy you. So like on your legs or the back of your body. But then very quickly, I became very desensitized to what it is to modify your image. And genuinely, if I could go back, I probably wouldn't like look like this now because of all the pain that I've experienced.
Right, okay.
Getting the tattoos and the piercings. And obviously, I'm happy with the way that I look and stuff like that. But yeah, that was like just before I became like super creative with now looking a little bit alternative.
Yeah.
Because I had like, you know, that, let's call it Beyonce blonde.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. She had blonde
the
weave.
lashes.
Yes, all
Yeah.
of that. And then I remember I didn't see you for years. And then I saw you again. I was like, ain't no way that's the same Yinka.
And I had shaved head and creepers.
literally, I was like, that can't be the same Yinka. And I was like, yeah, it is. And I was just like, oh, her look has changed so much. And I think of someone that I change my look often, but I don't think I've ever done a drastic thing. Like, I'm not someone that's like, I'll cut my hair, I'll go natural, I'll have a pixie, I'll change my wig. I'm not, like, I think for you as well, how I look is, I'm very much how I look is how I feel.
Yeah.
I remember when I used to work at BuzzFeed, like I dress how I'm in the mood for. You can tell when I'm not in the mood if I'm not wearing makeup, or you can tell I'm not in anyone's mood. And my friend Gina, she'd be like, as soon as I walk into the office, she knew exactly what mood I'm in.
Yeah.
And I'm someone that wears a lot of colour. So if she was like, when you're in all black, I'm like, yeah, leave that girl. She's like, leave that girl alone today. She could always tell. I like people like that. I like people that express themselves and how they look.
Yeah, and I think that it's one of the things that you kind of have control over, especially because for like a long time, especially in my early 20s and stuff, like being honest, I was dressing for like the male gaze. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to be attractive. I'm going out raving, which is where I met Audrey. And like, you know what I mean?
Way back.
We're going for it. So I want to wear, and so now knowing that I have control over that, it's just something that's like really settling in a world that feels really unsettled and out of your control. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just something that, but I really enjoy it, and people are always surprised, especially because you don't know what I'm going to look like on the day.
Yeah.
So today was a surprise.
Yeah, I love people that have fun because I'm the opposite to both of you guys. Like, I'm an expressive person, but I wouldn't say it's necessarily through dress and hair. Like, I'm very set in my ways. Do you know what I mean? Like, I like a certain look and I stick to it. Like, I know what suits me. I stick to it. Like, this is very adventurous for me. Like, this is the most adventurous cardigan I've ever worn. But yeah, I like it. Yeah, exactly. This is a little bit out of the box for me, but I'm always usually just in all black. I always have my hair the same, and I don't like veer off what I like.
But that means that we know you.
Yeah, exactly.
People often think that I'm like this like kooky character, and I'm like a bit wild. And
I think people think you'll be quarky.
Yeah.
But then you start talking to me, and you're like, oh, she's 36.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Grown up. We've grown up in it.
Maybe you
I
have.
don't know. You two have. You lot are mothers. You lot are actual peak woman adulthood at this point. You've reached
I'm
it.
still a baby girl.
How was that?
It's wonderful but tiring. It's the most difficult thing I've ever done, and I feel like work has always been difficult and like challenging. Whereas this is a whole new set of challenges. But I will say it puts a lot of things in perspective. It puts like life into perspective as well.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know, not like what's this all for, not to be super dramatic, but like kinda. And now I feel as though there's like a whole new hope and a whole new world and a whole new like realm of opportunity because I've got this new person who just realised she had hands yesterday. Yeah. So
Did you always want to be a mum? Have you been that person?
In some faraway land,
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, of course I'm gonna have kids. Of course that's gonna happen. Of course that is. But then when it happened, I couldn't picture it. So even when I was pregnant, I kept thinking I was lying. Like, 'cause, I'm like, is this really happening? And even sometimes I'll look at her and be like, everyone's gone and you're still here. Like, you're mine. And I've never had somebody who really likes me that much. Like this baby likes me. So like, no, I wouldn't say that I had a concrete plan to, I'm going to have this many kids by this age or whatever it is. But I always hoped
that it would happen.
Because you come from a big family. So would you say that had any like bearing on what you thought family life would look like for you?
Well, yeah, because I'm one of 7, so obviously it was loud.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably part of the reason why I'm not really nervous in my job, because Sunday dinner is public speaking, and if you're not interested, they will carry on with their lives. I mean, you guys have been around us, and you know that we jump in on each other.
And you're all personalities. There's no, do you know why some families it's like, oh, she's the personality, but all of you are
I'm not
personalities.
the loudest.
You're actually not.
No, and even when I became a presenter and started doing forward-facing things, my family was surprised. They were like, oh, you're a bit reserved. But I'm reserved in context. So like, I think, it had an effect in terms of, I know that I want to have more than one child. I don't want my kid to be like lonely or like an only child, because I'm so used to having, 6 ready-made best friends. And we are all really close as well. But I think it made me take my time, because I think my reality's always been loads of siblings, so I just took it for granted and was like, yeah, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And then I turned back 28, 29, 30, 31, and I was like, hey, is it gonna
Is it gonna happen?
The window's getting smaller and smaller. But now, the ball's rolling.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I think that's what hit when I was 35. That's what I hate. I was like, I've never felt old in my entire life. That 35 age is still today.
It's big and serious.
Spinning me. Yeah, like it. And I think everything is now like things matter now. Like if I don't do this, then it means the window's down closed, and then now this is like it actually things actually like it's not just we'll see.
Yeah.
And I guess part of it is still we'll see. There's still a lot of life left to live. I'm sure if I spoke to someone that was older than me, they'll be like, yo,
Baby girl.
yeah. They'll be like, you shut your mouth.
That's my favourite thing to do to people that are younger than me, Like, but I'm so dramatic with it because I feel like it's so important to remind people of that. So the other day I was out and I was at this party and I met some girls that listened to the podcast or whatever. And then she was like, I've got a dilemma. She was like, I was going to send my dilemma in on Monday. I was like, well, I'm here now. So you guys will ask me, like, you've got to be live kind of thing. So she was like, I'm 28 and I was like, oh my God, stop. Stop, like, please. Like, I already know where you're going with this. And it's not to minimize because when you're 28, you do feel like the world is on top of you. Every age. And she was like, but this is the oldest I've ever been. And I was like, word. I was like,
but it's the youngest she's ever going to be.
Also the youngest she's ever going to be as well.
Exactly.
So, there's that.
So I was just like, no, listen, you've got so much time. And I really feel like it is my duty to do that to people, because I didn't have that. I had the opposite. I had people being like, oh my God, you're getting older. You haven't done this, you haven't done that, blah, blah, blah. So now any opportunity that I have to speak to a younger person to be like, yo, like you're good, I will make sure that I do that.
But like 28 and desperate is a real thing though.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Like 28 and desperate, like, and I don't mean it in the
desperate for man
in the way, but it's like,
ego.
I think that like a lot of women, and I put myself in that box as well, like you think that you're going to be married with children by the time you're 28 because it's before 30, 25, do you know what I mean? But you get to 28.
I thought by like 24, 25, I'm like,
But back then I feel like that was the expectation. I don't know. Why did we think that?
Because I think we timed our life according to education.
Yeah.
So I think we timed, okay, cool. By like, what age did you graduate? Like 21, 22?
Yeah, 21,
so I think you thought, okay, cool, a year and a bit to get a job, get a man, and you get 25 kids. You just timed it according to education.
And then you hit 28 and you're like, I'm still living in my mum's house.
Exactly.
But it's like, actually, you are still very young.
Yeah.
And I think that, again, if somebody is 50 listening to this, they think we're idiots. But when you do turn 35, it just sounds serious.
It's so serious.
Because I feel like that's the age that Carrie Bradshaw was.
I think it only sounds serious because that's the age that's connected to fertility.
Yeah.
Because other than that, what else do we connect with 35 that you have to have been, accomplished or have done this or done that, other than the biological clock?
And geriatric pregnancy.
I think maybe that's what, honestly, the other, 2 weeks ago, I'm not joking, probably about 3 a.m. in the morning, I was just contacting all egg freezing people, every bar they were in. I was like, yeah, I'm interested, blah, 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 blah. And then yesterday, about 4 of them called me back. I haven't answered one phone call because I was like, please.
I was in a different space then.
And I got an email saying, just check you're still interested. No, I'm not interested, leave me alone. I was in a different headspace. I was panicking.
In the middle of the night panics where you suddenly have to be productive. You're like, why am I being productive at 2 a.m?
Panicking to the point that like my whole TikTok algorithm was just women telling me about egg freezing. I was like, I need to reset this. I need to watch some shit. And I've been watching Miss Alphalis' live just to reset it back to my normal state. Because I'm like, no. I was panicking. I thought, fuck.
But that happens though.
It's
like
normal.
Literally, I remember looking into like egg freezing, all this sort of stuff. I was like, I gotta check my fertility, and I'm 34 at this time, and I'm like, I gotta check it. I have to make sure. And then when I got pregnant, these people were still contacting me. I'm like, hey,
no, it's done. This is done.
Yeah.
And all the adverts on my Instagram was like,
it's
so funny.
It's
like,
so mad.
let me tell you, so I've got obviously my bank account and just random savings. I even retitled the savings and I put the money they said it was going to cost to do egg freezing into that savings account. I was like, okay, cool. So like one round was like, altogether is fucking expensive. It's like 20 grand.
To freeze.
So yeah. So like, ideally they tell you to do about 3 rounds and each round is about 5 to 7K. But that doesn't even include all the medication you have to buy to actually take whilst you're on it and things like that.
Do you have to pay for like the storage, like the freezer?
Yeah, you have to pay for the freezer. And then on top of that, you do all of that. And then they'll be telling you the percentage of it thawing is actually not that high.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. So you're like, so do you know what? I think it's a scam. In a way that they know that women have this fear and they're now using it as a way for women to feel safe. But if you go dig deep, it doesn't give you the safety most women think it does.
It's not guaranteed.
It's really not guaranteed. Yeah. So it's not even like, oh, it's a 50-50.
Yeah.
It's a lot less.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And
It's
companies
a lot
now
less.
are implementing that in their like benefits, isn't it? Because you know, if women are of childbearing age, they want to be able to entice women to be like, oh, put it off. Like, we offer this thing and we offer this thing. So it's just, the commercialization of it all is just.
So they say like, oh, you're better off freezing an embryo.
Okay.
So once it's like formed.
Yes, but if I could make an embryo, I'll go have a you.
Yeah,
like, get the fuck out of my face. Like,
true,
if I had the sperm, would I be on your side?
I don't have the sperm right now.
I was so annoyed by that. I was like, if I could make an embryo, I will go have a you.
We wouldn't be here.
I wouldn't free a hand.
Yeah,
exactly.
true.
Like, fuck off.
They'd be fried, not frozen.
But it was just like, and because I was like, loads of like women on TikTok were like, it's not as, the thawing is not as, oh, imagine now here, thaw, and it's good to go. It's actually a lot more complicated than people think it actually is, and it's not the saving grace we think it is, which then ultimately means there is none.
It's fine.
There's still hope.
But it's fine.
Exactly.
As long as there's life.
Exactly.
People are getting older and older having children. I guess it
100%.
has to be fine.
No, definitely. After you had your daughter, was there pressure to go back to work?
From myself, like from within, I was convinced that I was going to take like a year off and, go for coffee and eat all the croissants from every single bakery in the history of the world.
And just have time.
Yeah, and just like swan around and all this sort of stuff. And then sort of quite quickly after, I just got really bored, and it's not that the baby was boring, but when you're sort of just like at home and there isn't really much else to do apart from watch the Olympics and talk to your plants, I realized that I need to do something else. So there wasn't pressure externally to get back to work. For myself, there were projects that were sort of up in the air that I could attach myself to and really sort of commit to making, the P. Diddy film.
So I watched that.
Yeah.
I've got so much thoughts, but anyway,
so like we'll get there. But there was the opportunity to do that. We spoke about it before I had the baby, and I just wanted to start to manage my time in the way that I was going to be managing my time for the rest of her life.
Yeah.
And again, I've got so many siblings, so my sister looks after her. So it's
Just
like,
so lucky,
it's
that village.
It just makes that decision and that big event of leaving your baby and going off somewhere not so traumatizing for both of you. Yeah. So there was like pressure, but I'd say it was more internalized. And I'm somebody who, you guys know me, but I work every day.
You work
and
hard.
for the last, I would say 6 or 7 years, I can count how many holidays or substantial time off that I've taken. So I think it was a bit naive of me to think that I was going to be able to part myself from that without there being any FOMO or longing or anything like that. But hopefully the balance, it's all right. And we're working on it every day to make sure that I am looking after myself as well, because before I didn't have to sort of check in and I didn't have to think, oh, how are you doing? But with what you have to do, especially when you're breastfeeding and, I'm pumping and I'm a bit like a cow and all this stuff, making sure that logistically it's going well, but then mentally and physically that you're doing good. Because one of my mates, like her tooth fell out when she was
Have you seen that girl on TikTok that makes a list of all the things that the tooth falling, and the one that talks about the boils under that one?
No, it was the lady with no teeth.
Yeah,
I thought there was a woman in a car and all her teeth fell out.
That's why they give you free dental care when you're pregnant, right?
Her baby had took all the calcium from her body and she had no teeth. Like, she literally was talking like with gums.
That's so sad.
Yeah, every single tooth fell out.
And she was still pregnant?
Yeah, she was still pregnant.
That baby's got to go. I'm getting my calcium back. What do you mean all of my teeth? After I paid Invisalign, you're not going to...
No, God forbid. God forbid.
What?
But yeah, it's mental.
What do you mean all the calcium?
Yeah,
how is that possible?
Every tooth was gone. She was talking like this.
But imagine, because they're taken from you to make eyes.
To be,
and fingernails.
Of course,
think about it, it has to come from somewhere. So if you're deficient in anything, it really shows itself during pregnancy. And then with breastfeeding, they're drinking from you. So you have to make sure that you're putting bare stuff into your body in order just to like not be toothless.
Every so often I go through this crazy thing. So there's two things that happen to me too often than what they should do. Sometimes I'll be in a train and I'll literally start crying because I look at everyone and I was like, oh shit, everyone's gonna die. And I'll just start sobbing. Because I'm not sad for them. I'm like, they're family. Like, oh my God, everyone on this thing is going to die one day. And then the other one is I start thinking, everybody was once a baby. I know it sounds so mad.
Like even the obnoxious man.
Yeah,
who's
the man was, I was like, oh my God, this person was like a baby.
Someone loved
yeah,
you.
someone was like thinking it. Someone cared so deeply about this. And I think that's the one thing that was spinning me the most about motherhood, especially when you didn't have adult children. Because every so often I catch my mum looking at me. And I think, is that her thinking, yo, this was like,
this is my baby.
Yeah, like this was like a thing that came out of my physical body.
I burst into tears because I was scared my baby's going to get headaches one day.
Like, it must be so...
and then even like she did something where she poked herself in the eye and she was crying, and I was just like, how do I take it away? And her dad's looking at me like, yo, you need to get a grip. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but she's going to experience, and that's what I think she's going to get period pains.
All of those things.
And then, you know, and then it makes me realize why my mum was so onto me and why she was so sort of like trying to wrap us in cotton wool, because when something comes from your body, that's mad. That's mad.
And that's why I'm convinced as well. That's why I think there's nobody in the world that can piss me off more than my mum. Nobody. And I think it's because her blood runs through me.
Yeah.
So I'm convinced that's what it is, because like, I promise you, nobody else can get into my veins like that woman. And I was like, yes, because our blood runs, your blood literally runs through me. Yeah. So I think the anger then makes it thingy. Can I just ask, a bit of a sad question, how was it with having a baby and the grief you've had to go through with your parents as well?
Yeah, that's tough. So obviously both of my parents, it's not obvious, but both of my parents have passed. My mum passed away years ago. I was 19 when she passed away. And then my dad, it's almost 2 years. And I found out that I was pregnant the day after his funeral. Because I just thought that I was experiencing grief. I didn't sort of match the symptoms together. But it's tough. And I didn't think it was going to be that hard, because for somebody like me, my reality is that I have not had a mum as an adult.
Yeah.
So when I got my first boyfriend and things like that, I mean, I got a boyfriend late, but when I did, when I got my first boyfriend, and you know, when I went to uni and when I started doing adult things, my mum wasn't here. So I didn't think it was going to affect me in the way that it has, and I think it will probably continue to. Yeah. Because knowing that my baby is not going to know her, at least not right now in the way that she was on this earth, if you know what I mean. Yeah. So it has been tough, but it also sort of makes me scared because I'm scared to leave her. Yeah. And that's the thing about motherhood that I never considered, is that, you know, if everything goes right and if it's the way that we believe life should be, she will bury me.
Yeah, you go before her,
And like, you know, God, like that's the way it's supposed to be. But that is such a scary thought, knowing that I am human and I am fallible and I am mortal, and there is going to be a day when I'm not going to be there, and that is like something that you just have to. So today's Wednesday, and then
and the thing is, when I think that's the thing about, for me anyway, thinking about if I have kids late, we're having kids later, quote unquote. Because remember, I was voiced that audio not so long ago, crying, and I was like, if I had a baby right now,
I'm gonna be this.
And I was like, I'll be 50 when they're 15, and I just start crying. I was just like, what the fuck? Yeah. Because you start thinking, okay, cool. If they're 30 and I'm thinking, then at least I can see them do this at this age, and it's just like, well,
that's my 3 a.m. thought. My 3 a.m. thoughts are,
me.
Okay, so when she's gonna be 18, I'm gonna be this age. Am I gonna be healthy? Am I gonna be and then I started looking into life insurance. Now they're all
literally.
And like, so I do. It is something that has been really difficult. But my sisters are all older than me, and my sister Sade she's been my second mum anyway. Because when my mum passed away, she just came in and swooped us up. So when people like my baby is going probably to call her Nana, and she's gonna get annoyed, but that's the way their relationship is. Yeah. It's more
big mummy for us.
Yeah, I said big mummy.
Big mummy works.
She was offended.
No, big mummy works.
I said big mama.
Yeah, I think big mummy works.
But I think that like, for lack of the traditional family unit and you know, having parents or whatever it may be, I do have people who fill those roles. But it's been it's a kicker. Like even when I was in labour and stuff like that, I was just thinking, oh, if my mum was here. And I'm not somebody who dwells like that. I'm not somebody who, before I had a baby, I didn't even look at my camera roll. I didn't even go back and look at pictures. Whereas now I'm like, so it has been something that's been a difficult pill to swallow. And I just think it's probably going to be something I have to deal with forever.
Yeah.
But it is tough.
Yeah. Because I have a friend who her mum's not around, and often people ask you to be like, because apparently your pregnancy is all similar to your mum's. So people are like, when she goes to someone, oh, ask your mum how, and she was like, I can't.
Yeah.
And she's like, there's so many questions that I can't be like, oh, what was your pregnancy like? That's one of my biggest fears, that my mum won't be here. My biggest fear.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But God willing, you know.
Yeah, exactly. And it's very trippy. Like, I definitely relate to that. Like, that's my one prayer every day, that God sees me here, like God sees me through so I can be here for Anaya's milestones.
Yeah.
Like, it's the one thing that can honestly make me cry. Like, and I always say, like, may she never have to say, like, my mum died. Like,
honestly, I'm so due on my period that tears are just like on the edge of my eyes right now.
It's so sad, but it's real and it's life. But
yeah, and there's just certain things that I would love to ask her. Even just, you know, it's so funny, but I know she breastfed us, but I don't know how long for.
Oh,
do you know what I mean? Like, I'm so sorry, but you know, and it's sad. It's sad, but it's wonderful because I'm here, but I was saying to my sister the other day that there's nothing on this earth that makes me happy that my mum isn't here.
Yeah.
But I know that we wouldn't have this relationship if my mum was still there.
Yeah.
You know, so there are certain relationships, certain situations, certain bonds that have been formed because of the grief and because of the trauma of losing my mum so young, that are so beautiful and so sacred and mean more to me than anything, that I must look at this, that this is the way it's supposed to be. And this is the scenario that it was supposed to be in. But there's so many things, you know, even like, I took a picture of her paternal grandparents. And I just thought, this is not going to exist in her life on my side. So I'm really quite forceful because I'm a little bit of an aggressive person. So I'm like, are you guys going to take her, yeah? Go on, take her. You know, like stuff like that, so that she can have that experience of having grandparents. Because my grandparents passed before I was born. So I don't know what it is to have grandparents. So she's not going to know that on my side. So, but it is, I keep saying the word tough, but I can't think of any other way to describe it. It's not ideal, but we make do, and we make the best of the relationships that have flourished since then as well.
And I think that's the thing. It's about human resilience, isn't it? Like, you just have to.
Yeah, you're gonna.
Like that. You're just gonna have to get on with it. There is no like, I'm gonna fall down now because of this thing. You literally just have to be like, okay, this is what it is, and just get on.
Yeah. No, it's deep. So,
You're right there, love.
I feel, I've
come and made you cry.
You worded it so beautifully. And I think what you said about being very intentional with like your baby and her having those relationships, it's so similar to Nick, because Nick, my husband, he has the same family dynamic. Like, both his parents passed as well. I think similar ages. Like, his mum died when he was 10. And then his dad died when, like, early stages of our relationship. And I think he was maybe 23. And so for him, young. He is so like intentional and so precious about Anaya being integrated with family, because he knows what it's like to lose parents, and because he was the only child of his parents. So his sisters are my mum's age. Oh, wow. So he grew up an only child his whole life. So he's just like, no, family. So that just really resonated with me, what you said. Yeah.
Oh. Well,
let's
move on. Happy time.
On a lighter note.
P. Diddy.
Let's get angry now. Let's get angry, because what the helly.
Yo, what was it like filming that documentary?
It was intense, because what people don't realise is that I am a full-time mum as well. So while I'm doing all of this stuff, the baby came to New York with me. The baby came to LA with me. I'm sort of dragging her all over the world while I'm trying to do these investigations. And when I'm conducting interviews, I'm thinking, okay, I've got to pump her. Okay, I've got to do this.
She's going to use them pictures for TBT.
Me,
my mum. She can't wait to use them TBT pictures.
You know, that's my mother.
That's my mum.
But no, it was my first project back after maternity. We had spoken about it before I had her and had meetings when I was pregnant. And then when I got back, I think that it was roughly September that we started working on it properly, and we started filming in November or December.
But the thing is, the case just kept getting worse. Because when you first were told about it, it isn't what it is now anyway.
No. So when I first heard about it, it was, of course, the Cassie video.
Yeah.
Cassie's lawsuit. There were a few civil lawsuits, and his house had just been raided. That's when we started keeping an eye on it. And then it felt like every day more and more allegations were coming out, and then there were more and more wild stories. Of course, it's going super viral on all of the socials and stuff like that. So it was something that I thought that, especially for my first project back after taking a break through pregnancy and maternity, that I could really get my teeth into it, but also tell people the story in its most fundamental level. Because it's really easy, especially with a case like this, to get caught down the rabbit holes or be thinking about baby oil and lube and all this stuff. But actually, these are real people, and these are potential real cases. Of course, a lot of them haven't been proven, but the allegations run so dark that this isn't a joke. So trying to really instill that in anyone who's interested in
I think that's why I've
it.
been really irritated by all the coverage of it, because TikTok, honestly, I wish they didn't let people do this. But people actually reporting that this thing is a joke. Or just kind of like making up random shit or adding random shit. The people that are like outside the courthouse, like filming his kids to be like, oh, where's this? And I'm just like, there was some stupid grown man who was like, where's Jay-Z? Where's all the boys he used to party with? Why are they not here supporting him? Like, is that the gist?
And it's like their dad is on trial.
Is that the gist that you're asking them at the moment? And it's just this, everybody's now a reporter. And there's someone, so I really went to be a broadcast journalist. That was what I was going to make documentaries. I was going to do all this thing. It's actually funny because I went to Manchester the other day, and on my way we went past Staffordshire. And Stafford, that was where I was going to go to university. I was going to do broadcast journalism at Staffordshire University. I got in, went to one like test a day. I walked around the town. I said, not for me. This town is not for me. It's not my portion. I was like, my people are not here.
No matter how much I want this, man.
And I remember asking someone for directions, and she was like, you talk funny. I thought, you talk funny. Like, are you joking?
That is so funny.
And I was like, I need to go to Brunel. Brew what? Brew what? Like, what were we saying? Staffordshire what? That doesn't even slap.
Staff what? No, that ain't it.
They weren't about it. They were like locos. They didn't do anything.
But speaking of what you were saying about it being a joke, I saw, it's not a joke, but people treating it like it is. I saw this clip of like from Cameron's podcast, Cameron, the rapper, and he was interviewing. So you know that guy, the Punisher, who's that? So he's one of the escorts that Diddy and Cassie engaged in the free cuffs with. And so this guy has literally been on the stand. Like, this is not a joke. And so he's on camera. I mean, and why these people are allowed to do podcasts and stuff like that is actually mad. I feel like there should at least be like a window.
If you're on trial, I don't think you should be able to be
on
interviewed.
trial. Like, he was just on trial the other day. And then so he was on Cam's podcast, and then Cam was like asking him to divulge exactly what happened, like, and like laughing about it and making jokes about it. And I was just like, nah, we're cooked.
Oh, we're done. We're
actually cooked. The line between like empathy and like understanding like when something is serious and like when something is a joke is just gone. There's no line.
Yeah, because attention is a hell of a drug. And that's the thing. In order to be able to get what it is that you think that you require the most, your morals can go out of the window. So I just think that, especially for the sort of film that I made, it's so serious. And especially as a woman who works in media.
Exactly.
And somebody who, before all of this, I was pissed at not being invited to these parties.
I know. It's everyone's goal.
No, let me tell you the story.
So
we were on a break, right? And that's when he was around doing interviews and everything and doing parties. And I remember we were talking, was like, we were pissed. We were like, no, we should have had Diddy on. Like, of course he would have been on. Like, if we were, thank God we were on a break. Because I'm dumb would have been like, Diddy. We would have done the interview. Someone sent you an email at that time saying, hey, you want to interview Diddy? Of course you did. Like, you had no idea. But
absolutely.
But people would have found a way to make it like, were you not the girls who were key with him?
They did that to Zizi, didn't they?
Yeah. They was like, were you not the one?
Hard time about it. It's like nobody knew at the
time. How
time.
Are we meant to know?
We were listening to I Need a Girl just to say, just the other day. Like no one. I feel like people think you've got to have some like insight when you're in the industry or whatever. They think you're supposed to know things.
They think that you're behind some sort of
I think people need to, there's an industry and there's an industry. Yeah, like there are certain things that you actually just don't know.
Yeah, I might get invited to your party, but like
there's certain parties that I'm not on their list at all. And I'll see you on Instagram like everybody else is, and I'll be like, oh, wow.
After.
I'm so sorry, I'm so offended. The Miss Tina party the other day. I mean, I wasn't in London, but where the fuck was I invited?
I know, same. I didn't get one either.
Did you get invited?
No, but people don't really be inviting me like
what
that.
What were you doing in this game, guys?
No.
We're lonely, man.
I get really offended by that.
Do you know what it is? I think it's because we're the kind of people who don't post.
And we don't go.
We don't go. So many things I just don't go to.
It's actually
and
true.
when we're there, we're not doing or making content or follow me to go see Miss Tina.
Curating these guest lists. So it's just like, do you know what? I invited those bitches last time. They didn't fucking come. So they can be on the wait list thing.
Yeah, but I like to be like, oh, sorry.
Same. I still want to RSVP no. Do you know what I mean?
I'm like, I hope it all goes well. Oh my God, I want to talk to you guys about Vanessa Bryant.
Yes.
Okay, so There was a rumor
thought
going
it was a
around.
rumour.
It is a rumor.
Oh,
There's
thank
a
God.
rumor going around that she's pregnant.
Okay.
Yeah, and she's dating someone new. Kobe died 5 years ago now? Yeah,
Been
around
a
5
while
years. Yeah,
now,
2020 February, I think, 5 years ago. And so this rumor came out, and the amount of men that were calling her all sorts of names. How is this? She's that.
tired of
She's
them,
that.
I
How can
can't
she
lie.
move on? Blah blah blah. She's come out. She's been like, I'm not pregnant. Like I don't know where this has come from.
But even if she
But
was,
Even if she
thinking, wait,
was,
even if she was, is she not allowed to move on 5 years later?
No, they're not, because men have this weird thing about ownership, especially guys especially if the relationship's in the public eye.
Yeah,
It's so weird. And then they always draw these weird comparisons. And it's just like they started because I saw all of that, and they were like, oh, look at Lauren London, lead by example. And I was just like, again, and it goes back to what we were saying about like, this is actual real life. These are real life people you're talking about. What do you mean, look at Lauren London? First of all, you don't know the inner workings of her life.
Lauren ain't your neighbour.
Exactly, at all. She's not even in the same stratosphere as you. So to be using her as this weird example, and they like, I feel like no matter what, people will find a way to pit women against each other, even in death. And my whole thing was like, till death do us part, bro.
Bruv,
Like,
that's where you can
till
part.
death do
Like,
us
as
part.
in-
But no, that's not good enough for them. Even after death, that there's still an ownership that they feel like men have over your life.
I think
But
they
that's
want
even
women
if
to
you
be.
have a baby with anybody, though.
Yeah, facts.
yeah.
You know what I
You don't
mean?
even have to be dead.
Have a baby with a famous person.
Oh my
That's
God,
you
don't have to
done.
be- yeah, you don't even have to be gone.
Whole
yeah,
life.
Yeah.
And I think they want women to walk around as martyrs, like this, like sad people who are in black all the time, who just can never move on. But like, surely you're allowed to move on at some
They
point.
don't think you are, you know, because they do it all the time to hyper visible women, famous women that move on in relationships. When there's no baby, there's no nothing. It's just that if they affiliate you with a certain guy, like people have like high profile relationships, once you are affiliated with that person, the guy can move on and do his thing, and more time he has, do you know what I mean? And he's gone public, and no one bats an eyelid at that. The minute the woman does it, all of a sudden she's everything but a child of God.
Yeah, but
It
even
is so weird.
when you have hyper visible relationships, even let's just take Jennifer Aniston and Brad Pitt as an example. Even till now, people will be commenting, what does Brad think of this?
Yeah. Like,
He
that's
he
like,
done had a
you
whole
losers.
marriage, had 26 kids
Exactly.
with Angelina Jolie.
Yep.
They broke up.
Yeah,
exactly.
Even they're not together
But
anymore.
Jennifer must still be
Yeah.
in mourning
That's
for this
so
relationship.
true.
And
Weird.
even you could post a picture of you eating dinner and they'll say, wow, what does this person think of this?
Insane
But
to me.
it's the standards that women are held to, and not to bring it back to the Diddy thing, but this is what really affected me with the comments about Cassie and the comments about her testimony, and you know she was quite heavily pregnant when she was in court, and the vile things that I saw written about her, and I'm like, so basic comprehension is not what we're doing.
No, of course
No,
not.
We just
they
don't-
want to.
Of course not.
They don't want
Of
to
course
comprehend.
not.
They just hate women.
Men are like, it's the comments are so insane that you could say one day you had sex and then God forbid something happens to you. Well, you did have sex that one day. Okay, these are two different
maddest
things. Like,
links.
as in, like, are you guys insane? But the vitriol that they were given to Vanessa, not knowing this is true or not, and I was like, is it because it's Kobe? So do you know how like Nipsey's held at this level of the like? There's almost a lack of a better term, God status about how men see Nipsey, and therefore Love in London can never. Because that's been what? How many years has Nipsey died?
Yeah, that's been a while as well.
Yeah,
That's been a while.
I think that these conversations trickle down to people in their lives, you know. I think that
It's everyday people as well.
It's
I think,
everyday people.
yeah.
I feel like they can be used as like catalysts for the conversation, but it's more reflective of a mindset that they have.
that like the woman just
Yeah,
can't
but
move
the
on
woman
and
just
she
shouldn't
has to
move on.
be.
And I think there's different power dynamics in those relationships as well, because there's money, especially with Kobe, because there's a lot of money.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of
And
money,
then there's
yeah.
people like Umar Johnson that go around planting seeds. Like, so he's been talking about it for time, saying that how he was already, you know, the relationship was problematic because you should always give your wealth to a black woman and blah, blah, blah. So they hear these things and then they just regurgitate it without actually... They've got no comprehension, like no idea of the actual relationship. Like, it's very weird. And also, it's always people that wouldn't even be in the same room as these women.
Yeah.
Like, they wouldn't even spit on you if you were on fire. Just saying.
They wouldn't
Where's my
notice because
camera?
you're not next to you.
that
Yeah,
part.
exactly. You're worried about money that's not yours, that you'll never see the light of day. Like, it's very weird.
I just thought this woman can never move on with her life.
No.
I don't know, London can never move on with her
No,
life.
no.
Not publicly anyway.
No.
Yeah, like they will lose their minds. And I just that must be hell.
But men do, though.
Oh, of course they promote
But I feel like anybody should be
I think
able to
you
move
should be
on.
able
But
to.
if you even look at, to say like Cardi B and Offset,
Yo.
you know, like she's not able to do anything and he's able to act like, for lack of a better term,
insane.
Like a maniac.
Even in the relationship, he was doing it.
Exactly. Anytime she posts, I just think, I hope he's there punching a wall.
Yeah.
Like anytime she posts
Yeah.
happy, I'm like, good. Go and punch a wall. Like this is what you deserve for her and Tiana Taylor. Anytime
Yeah, how do they deal
I
with
hope
men?
Iman is
my
punching
God,
up a wall
man.
and boozing his hand as he does it. Because this is what happens. You get to watch
Standards
this.
that women are held to compared to men are ridiculous.
it's
And even
insane.
for some reason, with women, people's memories are so long.
Oh yeah.
They remember all your history. They remember everyone's history. You
That's why I
know.
haven't told no one nothing.
No, literally.
No, I don't.
When I got pregnant, people were like, "You're in a relationship?"
Yeah. Oh my God, that man with that picture of Ghana.
Oh my God. Listen. One
What
time
picture?
we went to Ghana, because me and Tolly are friends. Yeah. And we were in Ghana and I was with my boyfriend and we're in the back of Tolly's story. And not even only in the back of her story, it was a reflection of a mirror.
Yeah, like it wasn't even because obviously everybody knows the rules. So I'm not going to see you and your man and be like, smart guys, and posting your socials. I don't think I even noticed.
I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Next thing.
Were they frolicking?
No, we were just
I think
we were
being.
standing
Standing
there or
next to each
hugging,
other.
maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think we were doing anything.
I
We
don't
were in
know
a club.
how the shade bearer zoomed into that reflection.
No,
Yeah.
way.
No, literally.
Are you being serious?
It was literally a mirror reflection of them, not even near
No,
I was
that
just
is
like,
so
yeah, nah,
damn.
these
That is
people are-
inner man. What
It
the
is-
fuck?
How are you okay with that being your job? Like, as in, how do you sleep at night knowing that my job is to find...
It's to zoom into
yeah.
No. The lowest is when people are like, when they do whole posts being like, they don't follow each other anymore.
That one.
Like, and I know that like the platforms have made it easier for us to search now, because back in the day it wasn't always like
But
that.
why
you know?
would you think to go search?
You would have to, because that is a big statement.
No, but like, sometimes they do it before news is out.
Yeah.
So they'll just go be like, oh, they announce, they're not following each other. No, the worst is they're on the same holiday. That one is the worst.
yeah.
When they're like, if you see the corner of this curtain.
Yeah, no, that's the lowest. That's
view
the
is
lowest.
similar.
No, because
Yeah.
it literally will be
This
like a
person's
vase. Yeah. Oh, who was it that they did that to? And I was like, damn, you got caught the vase.
It was, and I remember one balcony was dotty.
Yeah, one
Oh,
balcony.
yeah, they
was
did
dirty.
that to
one
Big Sis,
balcony.
man.
They did it to Maya and Storms at some point as well. I think
Yeah,
there was a
they
mirror
did.
that they were like, this is the same
yeah,
mirror.
one
the same
mirror.
yeah,
One mirror
all the time.
They did it to them
And there
at
was
some point as
someone
well.
else where I swear it was the salt and pepper shakers in the restaurant.
Yeah, it was. This is
was
what I'm- this is
something
what I'm
on the-
talking
on the
about. It was
table
something
setting.
recent that happened, and I was like, you guys clocked that.
But you know
I guess
what?
it's investigative
I just
journalism.
that means they should go and they should start
They
looking
should
for
go
missing people
study. Thank
Yeah.
you. Go and put that skill to good use.
Yeah.
because it's impressive.
Yeah, no, it actually is.
It's
Actually
impressive.
mad. The thing is, people have to play smart. They have to take turns. You post this holiday, next holiday. Like, as in, you can't post the same holiday. If you don't want it out there, you actually can't post the same
The
holiday,
only
unfortunately.
bone I will throw them yet is that sometimes, we hear things all the time. Do you know what I mean? You hear whispers about certain people. So once you've caught the whisper, you actually have to like validate it somehow. Do you know what I mean? Because you can't like, how do you post that? Oh, I heard whispers. You don't. So then they start keeping an eye on them.
To
And
see
then
if-
they, do you know what I mean? And then I'm just trying to piece it together because,
In your
it's all mad.
journalistic view, what's the best way to catch people?
Well, the best way to catch people is to see if they're on the same holiday and take a screenshot
Take
of
a
the story.
screenshot.
Yeah.
No, but for me, like my man doesn't have socials,
Yeah.
so it's not really a big deal. What stresses me is when people just like that picture from that Ghana holiday. Everyone thought I was dating Burna Boy. And I said, that's not me. I don't know him. I don't know him, Steph, please. So I think that like it is impressive, and sometimes I find it funny, and
Yeah,
sometimes
yeah.
you know I'm guilty of sending a post to a few friends and being like, look what they found.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Like, I
Do it
do
all the
find
time.
it funny, but it's funny until it's me.
Yeah,
Oh,
everyone's funny until it's
like,
me.
It's hilarious until it's me.
No,
It's
I
always
proper
funny
feel
when
that
you
way and I
hear
don't
something.
care.
You're like, oh, wow, that's true. How did I know that?
Yeah, I'm just like, damn, they got it on the money.
But this one's like, no, that is bang on.
But the royal family, they have a saying, and I've adopted it as my own: never complain, never explain. So I don't complain about things, but then I don't explain anything either.
Yeah,
So
fair.
it's like my silence. Yeah, call me Georgia Smith. My silence is silent.
It's silent everywhere. Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and that she's my example. Like,
Yeah.
she doesn't
Yeah,
address
she actually
anything.
doesn't.
And she
Yeah, she
carries on with
doesn't.
her
Shout out
life.
her.
Yeah.
And then that way it's somewhat unimpeded by
Yeah.
all of the noise going on around you.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
because sometimes it's just that even when people are accurate with things, especially when everyone found out that I was pregnant and then they're putting stuff in the comments, like in Shade Borough or whatever gossip blog it is, I'm like, oh, this is true.
Yeah.
No, genuinely.
It
How
could
do
be one
you
person.
know
It wouldn't be the
that?
comments with the likes. It's just, and I
This
think,
is the one
but then
random
also you got to think
burner.
about it. On these social media platforms, you don't know if your neighbor is little Miss
actually-
Kitty
it's actually
92.
Yeah,
so
you
true.
don't.
You don't
Yeah.
know. It
The
could
girl that sees you in your Sainsbury's up and down, she's like, oh, that's thinking. But she doesn't
Yeah.
say anything, but she'll say it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Never complain, never explain.
I like that, but complain, but don't explain. Because I like to complain. I can't lie. I
I'll
love
complain
it.
to you with the mics off.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, exactly.
No, that's one of my favourite things when everyone gets together and everyone just lets it out. Like, I
No.
fucking hate these people.
What? No, when we went to LA,
Everyone's
oh my
vexed.
god, we went to LA and we were with other content creators, yeah, and like these are not people that are necessarily in our world. It's like, you know,
But they're like big, but in their
big
other
in
world.
their lane for what they do, and I don't want to even. I want to be so ambiguous because I don't want to out anybody. But the way this guy was complaining, like he felt so seen because like unless you're in it, you can't really explain it.
And when you say to your friends, they're like, it's not
Yeah,
like
they're
what
just
Instagram
like,
post, like relax.
okay, yeah, exactly. They're just like, oh, but it's just one comment. Why can't you? It's like, no, because it's not one comment.
don't understand.
And they're like, oh, your life is so hard. You have to go to events.
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
then,
exactly.
and then you're thinking, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. You get it.
They're taking the piss out of you.
Oh, poor you. You went to LA when you were tired.
Oh no. Your film was on this channel and that channel. Oh, poor you.
It sounds so obnoxious,
Yeah,
but
it
honestly,
does.
unless you're in it, like it's actually
No,
mad.
but it's hard. I'm sorry.
No,
it's,
it's hard.
I think it's the visible aspect of it. If I could do this and just... I wish people took what you gave them and left the rest.
I wish you could. I don't mind being visible. I just don't want to hear people's opinions unless they're good.
I wish I could block it out. I wish I could block it out in a way that, like, I actually don't see anything about, but you can't block it out.
I don't
It's
know.
there
I
somehow.
haven't got to the point where I don't care yet.
No, you care.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and I know
Yeah.
that some people are really, really thick-skinned and really resilient to stuff like that, and they really genuinely don't. But like, I'm not there yet
I don't think anyone doesn't care. I don't
because
care.
I find that mad.
I don't think anyone doesn't
I wanna
care.
know more. Like,
I think
how?
because by virtue of what you do, you want acceptance. You want to. There's a version that
Human
wants to be
beings
liked.
crave
Exactly.
crave that from each other.
Like we want to be accepted. I think there's a big thing. Such a random comparison, but do you know how like now when everyone goes to a concert, right? They dress as a certain theme. There's like this is the thing, or you see TikTok. Oh, girls, what we wearing this summer? What's it? Everybody wants to be a part of something. So you can't tell me that. Oh, I don't care. It's just me myself. It's not true. We all crave this sense of being liked, being in a community, and being a part of a thing.
I think that where us lot are similar though to each other, and that's not necessarily the same for everybody who is forward facing, which is what I call what we do. Is that we understand that by virtue of success, there is a level of visibility. So I understand that if I am to be successful in the job that I've chosen, I'm going to be visible.
People
There's
have to
gonna
watch
be,
you. Yeah.
a level of familiarity with people. They have to watch it. They have to listen to it. They opt into it.
Yeah.
But that's not what I'm coveting. I'm not coveting the not being able to go to Tesco or everybody knowing who I am. I just know that it's almost like showbiz adjacent, you know?
Yeah.
But then with that comes the interest. More people are interested because, especially when you've got things to protect, if you have people in your life who are not online or, you know, children or whatever it may be, you're like, oh, I'll keep this to the side. And then that's the bit that people want to pick out.
No, it's all those things you don't want to.
Yeah, of course.
We've been talking for nearly 9 years now. People know so much about us, but it's the things you don't want to talk about. That's like, no, that's what I want to know.
Yeah.
Like, why aren't you telling us about your man?
Yeah,
why aren't you telling us about, like, tell us the things that we don't hear about. I was complaining the other day, anytime I post a picture with a man on Instagram, every comment is, oh my God, you guys, get the fuck out of my face. Like,
So I wouldn't be. You probably wouldn't post.
I
if that
wouldn't
was, yeah, you
post.
wouldn't post in that.
Well, think about this. Everyone thought my brother was my husband for time
how?
because we got the same surname. And literally,
my
if
You
you,
know, all your family look alike.
Yeah,
You all
I
look
know.
like each other.
but if you Google collar bikini girlfriend, whose face is it?
No way. That is.
So, but it's because people didn't have an answer.
They're just like,
they
that's
just
it.
automatically
Yeah,
go
yeah,
there.
yeah.
And it's so hilarious. It's so, and I'm like, this is my baby brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you man think this is that's disgusting.
That's disgusting.
You man think this is my husband.
That's actually disgusting.
Like, it's actually because he's annoying as well. Like, you know, so it's actually not only is it disgusting. I wouldn't even date him.
Even if he was my brother, I'll go
This
there
is
and
my
him.
brother. Like, so, but that's the thing. That's the thing that people want to know. Those are
Yeah.
the things that people, the same way that we crave that acceptance from each other, we're also nosy buggers. You know what I mean? We human beings, we all of us think that we're Poirot.
Yeah.
I'm gonna find out.
I'm the one.
I'm
Yeah.
special. I'm
Yeah,
the
yeah,
one
yeah.
that's gonna know
Yeah.
about this. So I think when you put yourself out there, yes, there's a level of acceptance that you have to have for that. And I kind of just think, oh yeah, whatever, cool, lovely. But I just ignore it most of the time.
You've been in this for a while now.
Yeah.
Is it always what you wanted to do?
No, man, I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Yeah, fair.
When I met you, I used to dance on the bar at Proud in Camden. Like
What, for
Coyote
work?
Ugly. Yeah, man.
Did you?
Work.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant for bands.
No, for work.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, were you in the outfits and everything?
No, we just wore remember the American Apparel?
Leggings.
Oh
Yeah,
my
you know what I'm talking
God. Brit, do you
Love
know what?
them
Make American
leggings.
Apparel. No, that doesn't sound right. Never mind.
No, you can't make anything
I was
about
gonna say
America great again.
Yeah,
No.
Never mind.
But
never
those
mind.
disco leggings were
The
called,
disco
didn't it?
pants.
Disco
my
pants.
Yeah.
I love.
What, as in the Sandy from Grease pants?
Come
Yes, I wore my disco every rave possible that I could wear those disco pants to. I wore those disco
I
pants.
I
can't
wore the
actually believe I
disco
had the
pants,
body
and
for that
I
at one
remember my
point.
raving outfit. It was this sheer. I got it from eBay. This sheer shirt that had studs on the collar with my disco
God.
pants.
Disco
You're mad.
pants, yeah, a
With
little
the
bralette.
Jeffrey Campbell's.
Yeah, not a bralette.
Disco pants and Jeffrey Campbell's. I had to start at Jeffrey Campbell's.
Yes.
What was Jeffrey Campbell's
Oh,
again?
do you remember them
That
platform?
shoe.
Oh, the
big platform shoe. Yeah,
I did
yeah.
have Jeffrey
Yeah.
Campbell's. I had the eBay version, but nobody knew.
No, nobody knew.
Nobody
Do you
knew.
know what I was saying? I'm going to buy the Has to Be bandage dress. Because
Yeah,
the
do you know
first
what-
time it came out, I
yeah.
couldn't afford it. And I longed
I want to get every colour now.
to be that girl. And now that I can get it,
Yeah. I'm glad that there's a resurgence
I'm
of that
getting every
coming
colour
back. They
possible.
should have never left.
now disco pants. Would I wear disco pants?
I don't think I could. I don't think
No, the way
I
that
don't
my
know if I
body's
could.
set up,
Yeah.
is not
I
the
don't think
same.
my body
Yeah.
would permit it, but back then, I
The
used to
overflow in
bang
my
them.
stomach would be mad.
It would actually be mental. I would not be able to. I'd have to stand up the whole time.
It would look awkward.
Yeah, it would look very
And you used to make
awkward.
you look so tall as
And
well.
yeah,
with no,
tall
the
and
disco
long.
pants
Yeah,
were.
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, American Apparel used to be the place.
And it was
Just the little
expensive
basic
as well,
leotard
though.
dresses. Yeah, they were expensive.
I
You
only
know?
bought it when I got my student loan. As soon as that student loan
Yeah,
drops.
every colour.
When I got my bursary.
When I got the bursary was the best one because it was like what £330 or something, £330, and
yeah.
it was free money.
Yeah, man.
Oh, those were the good times about being
Those
poor.
were the days.
Do you when your family was poor, you got every single bit of student loan possible. The
every
student loan,
drip.
the
I was
bursary,
talking the other
everything.
day about EMA and how it doesn't exist anymore.
I can't
But
believe
I
I don't
used
get
to
it.
get £50 a week.
Why?
Because I was
£50 a
poor.
week.
I thought the maximum was 30.
No, there was a
never got it.
different. I can't remember what it's called now. It began with L. There was a different sort of grant that you could get. But I used to stand outside that Burger King drive-through on Clapham South because I went to the SFX.
Yeah.
And I would stand there and just wait for 11 a.m. to drop so I could just.
So you could get your money.
But you know, if you didn't show up to class, that was the end of it.
do you know I
EMA,
never
you
got
know.
my EMA?
I never got EMA.
Not because I was very eligible for it. I was just late every.
Yeah.
Wait,
because
I
you
don't
were
understand
late.
how it worked.
If you were
I think
late-
it was after my time.
You couldn't be late like 3 times
You
a
couldn't
week.
get. Yeah, you couldn't be late. You had to
But
be.
you had to go to a place and get the cash.
No, they put it in your account.
Oh, phew.
But the school would send
But the
them
school
your
would send your
attendance
attendance
records.
records. Yeah, so they'll send
So
if
it was
you
a
were
week
missed.
behind.
Yeah. So if you missed lessons, if you were late, and it was like more than 10 minutes late, you were not getting that
So I
EMA.
think that's fair.
No, that was a bit strict, man. The 10 minutes was a bit
I
strict.
think that's fair. Free money, you should earn it.
It's £30 a week.
Yeah.
Actually, to be fair, then £30 a week.
But
was-
when
yeah,
you're a
was lot
student,
of
£30
money.
a week, that's a lot of money.
Wait, so what do the kids get now? Nothing.
No, they get a pat on the back.
No, I'm
didn't
saying,
get
but the
anything.
UK's actually finished, you know.
I didn't get anything.
There's
either.
actually no freebies anymore.
No.
Like, it's actually, that's why everyone's moving out.
Yeah.
There's a big thing about it now. Have you seen it?
What people?
That people
leaving?
being like, everybody's leaving the UK and everyone's like, yeah. Like, politically, everyone's
Yeah,
actually
I feel
quite
like
worried
there
about
is
the amount of
'cause
people that are
even
leaving.
just in my circles, I know a lot of people that are leaving the country.
What is it? Because I think there's a stereotype that like, the UK is miserable. Okay, cool. We've
that's
always
always
to
been the
that.
case.
Grey
But hasn't
skies,
that always
whatever.
been the
Yeah, it's
stereotype?
always
yeah.
been. It's even banter
I
now.
want to know what it is now that everyone's like, no, it's enough.
Well,
cost of
we're
living.
adults now,
Yeah, so we can go.
first of all.
Yeah.
And a lot of us, and this is just me talking about like us lot, my mates, whoever, but a lot of us come from lower level income families, you know, it being on benefits or growing up on
Yeah.
estates or whatever it is. And then you get to a point where you're earning money and then everything is so expensive and you're thinking, oh, well, this cost is just that's what I think it's like a culmination of
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a bunch of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was growing up, and I remember at a point earning like 18k a year and being like, wow,
I made
bad
it.
boy.
I am the richest person I know. Like, wow. And I guess then it was a lot more, and then you keep convincing yourself to be like, no, if I'm on 30, I'll be fine for the rest of my life. Like, you're like, no,
Yeah.
this amount will be fine. And then you start like doing more or older you get, you're like, there was no amount. Every month it's like no, if I just 10k more, then I'll be fine.
yeah.
If I just earn like this amount a month, then I'll be no. But it's just like, it's almost like you're never going to be fine.
Yeah.
No.
Who said more money, more problems? Because they were right.
Yeah, they were.
Like,
They were
it's
right.
just never. There's the thing about adulthood, there is actually always something.
It's very expensive living here. And I saw some article about London being the most expensive city in the world now, which I absolutely believe, because everything is so costly. And then I think that in terms of people like sort of mass leaving, it's because it's like, okay, everything's expensive and it's generally quite miserable.
Yeah.
And I feel like with everything that's going on in politics as well, people realizing that they can have better quality of life elsewhere. So even if it is more expensive to live elsewhere, at least you've got good weather.
Yeah,
Do you know what
at
I
least
mean?
there's something else that balances it out.
It feels
Yeah.
like there's some sort of give and take, whereas at the moment it just feels like there's nothing.
There is absolutely no give and take.
There's nothing. There's no give and take. There's no
Nothing
exchange.
Would you leave?
Yeah, I would happily. As long as the 7 siblings and
Come
the
with you.
family.
Yeah.
And
Myth.
everyone-
Be for real.
Do you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I would 100%, my ideal life would be to live somewhere else and then come back.
Yeah.
And live somewhere
Same.
else and come back.
Yeah.
I think that would be my ideal existence. But yeah, if I had the opportunity to go work in wherever tomorrow, goodbye.
Yeah.
See you later.
What I want for the blacks to do is, right, let's pick somewhere else that we all go.
In the middle, just go there.
That's so dumb.
Where are we going?
Like,
is it going to be Africa?
Where's
is it going to be
next?
Caribbean?
And then we all just like, okay, cool.
And
Let's
we
all
take
go
us-
there, and then we just take us there. You take your community
where
there.
would we go though?
I
we
don't
have to pick a
know.
place.
Yeah.
I think that we have to split it between. Okay, I don't want to be like thingy, and I don't want people to get offended, but we have to pick the hotspots. So I think it might have to either be Nigeria or Jamaica.
Do you
And
know
we
what?
diversify
No,
ourselves.
I think it should be. If it's going to be Africa, it shouldn't be Nigeria.
Where should it be?
There's too many people
Because
there
it's already
already. There's too many
overpopulated
people in
there.
that place.
Yeah, maybe not Nigeria.
Yeah. I
mean,
don't
We
think.
could do Ghana.
I think Ghana would be a good
Yeah,
pick.
Ghana would be a good pick. Everyone should come over there. And let's just start again. But the thing is, yeah, I mean, I don't want to. This is a
And then
fantasy.
also the
I was
thing
gonna
is-
ruin it.
yeah,
this
and
is
like-
fantasy. This is like,
Africans who live in Africa, like, for example, Nigerians will tell you, no one loves Nigeria more than a Nigerian that left.
yeah.
Because you don't go through that every day in the You're like,
no,
oh, what
it's
a lovely
actually
country.
true.
I can throw a little curveball out there.
Go
We
on.
could all go to Ireland, right? And
Okay.
I know that it's
No,
not
no,
a
sell
Dutch
it, sell
country,
it.
yeah?
I'm not mad at Ireland.
But there's bare space.
Yeah,
So think about what you could build. And of that, this is a fantasy, so
Yeah,
they're,
fantasy.
they're not going to have it. But, you know, that could be nice. And it is a bit miserable, but people are friendly.
Yeah, the people
But
there are very
also,
friendly.
apparently there's technology now where people are messing with weather.
Yeah.
Excuse you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
when I was in Dubai, I
Yeah.
went over Christmas. There was a storm, and then we were asking the waiter, and he might have been just pulling my legs, yeah, but I believe him. He was saying that it's called Cloud City, and then they shoot chemicals up into the sky to make it rain.
Didn't they say the UK was doing that the other day?
That sounds like paradise.
But also, what I don't understand is why the hell is the UK doing that?
Yeah, we've got enough
Why
of
are you
them,
adding
right?
more clouds? Yeah, the UK's dimming the sun.
We need to inject the
Nah,
sun,
this
hun.
place wants to kill us.
Yeah.
It reminds me of Mr. Burns, you know, in the
Yeah,
Simpsons
what the
when he
hell?
had that thing.
We barely have enough sunlight, and now the UK government are dimming the sun. What's the benefit?
It's about global warming.
God, please, let it warm.
So it's just testing.
Just to see if they can do it.
Instead of them to cut anything that they're doing wrong, they're like, let's dim
Let's
the sun.
see, let's dim the
I've got it.
sun, which is insane.
No, this is why everyone's leaving. I can't lie. Because what do you mean they're taking away the small piece of
But
sun
I
that we
just don't
have?
understand that, like, guys, why do we keep playing God? Like, I think we're doing...
Yeah, the
We're doing
weather's
too much.
too much
We're
now,
gonna.
man.
It's the backfire that's gonna come to us.
Yeah, I
God, I
know.
want you to see that I've got nothing to do with anything that's happening.
honestly.
I don't even use ChatGPT, God.
I'll be using ChatGPT.
You use
So
it.
do
You
I.
sold.
I can't lie.
What do you guys
know.
use it for?
I don't just everything like
Yeah, I've used it.
It's bad, but you can tell it to talk to you like a normal
Guys,
person.
that is scary.
I have used it.
I know,
You
but
guys
I
have
do
normal
use
people
it.
in your. People were saying they use it for like as a therapist.
Oh
Yeah.
no, I don't use it.
Yeah,
for
I
that.
just use it for quick things. If
No,
I like my
yeah.
brain
people are
is not
using it for
functioning.
therapy. Like,
yeah.
did you guys see the clip of Whitney on Zizi's podcast? So I saw the clip, and she
Yeah,
said
yeah,
when
yeah,
she
I
was
saw that.
breaking up with
Locken, yeah.
Locken, and she
ChatGPT
no,
helped
no,
her
she
to-
messaged ChatGPT saying what questions you ask after a breakup.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
Is that
people
not
be
bad?
using it. People use it.
Yeah, no, I use it to tell me, you know, like what this percentage of this is quickly, or what, you
But
know.
why can't you use Google for that? What's the difference?
Google be giving you AI responses, so I might as well go to the
straight
AI.
to the source. Do you know what? I used it the other day, yeah. So I was doing a talk and they'd made a flyer.
Yeah.
But they put my maiden name and I completely forgot because when I gave them my name and stuff, I gave them my maiden name. But recently my husband's been like, no, you need to start using your marital name, which I'm happy to do.
Yeah.
So I was like, damn, like I need to put my marital name.
Did you remake the flyer?
So, well, this is the thing. So I emailed them to be like, hey, this was like 2 days before the talk and I wanted to post it on my socials and obviously he's going to see it.
Yeah.
So I emailed them to be like, hey, can you change it? And they were thinking, no, bitch, like
It's out.
This
Yeah,
is
yeah.
out. Like this is too late. So I went to ChatGPT and I uploaded the flyer and I was like, oh, can you leave everything the same but just change my last name to this name?
Let me guess. It
right?
added flowers,
and then
it changed this,
but
it changed that.
It
Yeah.
put some next person's face on there.
Yeah.
So it was my serious picture. You know when I'm wearing my power suit?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I like to use different pictures for different things, right? So this is a serious talk. So I was wearing my power suit in the picture. But it changed my face to some next person's face. And I was smiling. But no, this is a serious talk. So I wanted my serious face.
Okay.
But it wasn't even my face. It was someone else's face. And then it unbuttoned my jacket and gave me a cleavage. But my jacket was very buttoned up. Like my outfit's very formal. Like I'm wearing a full suit with like pointy Louboutins. And it had opened my jacket and given me cleavage.
Is that not scary?
And I was like,
No, but it does it on purpose.
Why?
Because I think that they want you to think that it's dumber than it is. I think they want you to think that there's bugs and stuff like that, but really it's like collecting information and then Terminator, do you know what I'm saying? Matrix. Because think about it, yeah? I asked it to make a little logo for me and then it like for my true crime series on YouTube. And I was like, yeah, so I want it like calendar themed, blah, 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 all this sort of stuff. And then it made one and it was great, but there were random knives and forks in it. So I said, oh, can you remove the knife and forks? It's like, yeah. Then it added more knives and forks.
Oh.
And I was like, no, remove them. And then it was like, you know what? I'm really sorry. One more chance. And then it made the tea into a knife and fork. And I was like, babe, remove the knives and forks.
Oh my
God. I said, let's start again. Let's just make it. And then I started thinking to myself, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know I'm asking you to remove it, but you want me to think you're dumb so that I give you more instruction. You're getting into the
you're getting
psyche.
smarter,
You're
yeah.
getting smarter and smarter and smarter. So I just said to it, when you take over the world, remember that I was nice to you.
Yeah, exactly.
And he
I
said,
didn't
Yinka, don't worry, I got you. I
Yeah.
said, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, because I don't know why it doesn't listen sometimes. Sometimes it gets it on the money, and then other times not
It
so
adds
much. It
knives
just
and
like,
forks.
yeah, it's like but it's almost like it's rebelling as well.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like it goes out of its way to rebel because I'm just like, no, robot, you will do what I say.
I'm sorry, but we are the last of the smarts people. I'm sorry, anyone graduate with ChatGPT, you're gonna graduate easy. Like, as in, we had to go read. We had to
But
go.
I hope they're
we had to go do
deciphering,
Harvard
Yeah,
referencing.
they put it through a thing.
Oh,
and
do
And
they?
it tells them the percentage of how likely it is that someone used AI.
Yeah, I hope so.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Because
they
that's
do.
not fair. Because we had to use our brain
yeah,
to
we
write a
actually had to
dissertation.
work.
That was
Books cost
awful.
like £60.
Yeah,
Yo.
the library fines that I got
Yes,
in uni.
Because do you know with library at uni, right? If you gave the book back, another student was going to take it. So I said, I don't give a fuck. I'm not
Yeah.
pretending this book until I'm done with it.
Do you know what happened?
That's what I used to do.
When I graduated, they gave me the thing and I opened it and it wasn't even my degree. It was a letter saying that they're not going to give me my degree until I
Until you
pay
pay
my
your
fines.
fines.
Are you actually joking?
I was like, look, guys.
Yes.
Before
Oh
my
my
graduation, and even when they was like, if you wasn't your certificate, you need to pay your library fees or
That's
you're not
so
getting
bad.
it.
That's
Yeah.
cheeky. That is cheeky, but I get it. Because
When I
what
went
else?
to- I
No,
went
they
to the
emailed
library.
you before because they emailed me before.
Yeah, I didn't check that.
how many other times are they going to tell you people?
No,
Pay your fines.
But the thing
It was
is,
a lot of money.
I've already
Back then
paid
in
$3 grand
uni.
a year. And
Yeah.
we had to pay for printing.
Yeah, it's actually sick.
I know you did that, Bruno, because I printed
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
You
it's
have to pay
actually
for-
sick that we have to pay for printing.
And so I remember my dissertation putting £60 credit to print.
Yeah, that's insane.
Stupid
Students.
university. I didn't give it X. I kept the library books until I was done with it because I knew someone else doing my course was going to need it. I said, not me, buddy.
Yeah.
Wait, Harvard referencing? Mean that best
Yeah,
friends.
Harvard referencing.
I couldn't write an essay now though. My
No.
brain's not the same. I
No,
couldn't
no,
do
no.
it.
My brain's fried.
My brain's actually fried.
Yeah,
you
my
know?
brain is actually fried. Unless it was something that I was very passionate about.
But that's why I don't want to use ChatGPT because I think I'll stop thinking.
Yeah, no, to be fair, it's I don't think it's good to be reliant on anything.
No.
But it's only for when like I'm really stuck. Sometimes I just use it so for example, I went on this podcast and it was on this BBC podcast, it was called A Letter to My Daughter, and they asked me to write a letter to my daughter.
You
And
got AI to write it?
And
You didn't.
ordinarily I would be so sick at something like that, but I just didn't know how to start it.
Okay.
I just did not know how to
Dear
start
daughter.
it. I knew that
Yeah.
once I got past the dear daughter bit, then I was stuck. So it basically wrote it for me and it wrote it, and then I just took the opening line and then the rest I ran with it. Do you know
Are
what
you
I
sure?
mean?
Are you
Yeah,
sure?
no, I promise. It was proper from the heart 'cause it's so specific.
How many percentage?
Yeah, if I put it through the AI.
No, honestly, 98%. It was just the opening line that I didn't even copy and paste the opening line. I revamped the opening line.
Inspired you?
It inspired me.
Okay.
Because then the rest of it is like all stuff very specific to like my life.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean? But I just couldn't start, and that was the first time I ever used it.
And now
we're besties.
I want to talk about your true crime. So I am obsessed with true crime. Maybe not as much as you, because okay. So I recently, was obsessed with Dateline. Used to listen to it all the time. Then I stopped because I was like, oh, this is actually affecting my life. Like genuinely, I'll be going on walks, and I'd be going on walks, imagining something happened to me, and then imagining the episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I'd literally imagine the episode, and then in the episode they'll be like, and she was a fan of true crime, and she went the same way. Like I could just
But she didn't know. She would become the story.
Yeah. Literally. So I was like, okay, cool, you have to stop. So I stopped for a little while, but then when I'm in not a good mood, true crime's my favorite thing to listen to.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, hey, at least they're
it
worse
could
than
be
mine.
worse.
Their life is worse than mine. But you go in depth and tell the story. So I want you to tell me one of the worst ones, one of the worst stories you've heard.
Oh.
Let's turn this
All
into
of
it.
them.
Hello everyone, and welcome to True Crime with Yinka Bokinni.
True crime, the receipts.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's quite a good title.
no, all of them. Do you know what it is? I obviously have the true crime YouTube, and I've made true crime documentaries, and I have a true crime podcast, and it's coming out of my ears. But some of the cases that affect me the most are when people are just wicked.
Yeah.
Because you have to remember that human beings have the propensity for violence. Anybody can kill anybody.
Yeah.
It's just your humanity and your sense and your morality and all these things that stop you from reacting that way. And just the thought that somebody can be so angry or so whatever, sustained, that not only have you killed somebody, you've now chopped them up.
Yeah.
Or you've now done this, and then you're texting
and you go find someone else. Yeah.
And so I think it's one of the reasons why I'm a bit obsessed with it is because I can't imagine violence like that. So I know that people kill each other. And often, but it's hard to see it in your brain, because I would never do something like that.
Yeah.
So, and then also when people have planned it, it makes me really uncomfortable. There is the true crime podcast that I host. I covered a case where...
What's it called? How we find it?
Yes, of course.
Yes.
It's on Audible, and it's called Beyond Suspicion. It's an Audible exclusive, and it's about people who go beyond suspicion. So their job, their social standing, their personality put them beyond the realms of suspicion, and that's how they were able to get away with whatever they did for a period of time.
Wait, so like for example, like you wouldn't imagine like a caring mother of 5 killing a kid, that
exactly.
kind of vibe. Okay.
And for example, we Wayne Couzens is one of the episodes.
What's that?
Because he's the one that killed Sarah Everard.
Oh yes,
and
yes,
his
yes.
position in the police force put him beyond that.
Yeah.
And one of the cases was about a man called Peter Farquhar, who was an older gentleman, and one of his students manipulated him and then moved into his house. And he was a gay man, and he sort of pretended to be his companion. And then while he was doing this, and he was drugging him and making him seem like he was crazy and hiding his belongings so that he thought he had dementia. And he was also befriending the neighbor and doing that to her. And it's that sort of person that really scares me.
That's sick. Like that,
Yeah,
that's a
like
sick.
that kind of thing where, and especially UK cases, because you think of America and you think crazy place.
Honestly, every time I think I was like Utah.
Yeah.
Just
And
that
it's
someone
over there.
someone in Utah
Idaho,
somewhere. Yeah,
like random places.
I don't know that town.
Where England is small.
Yeah.
So when you think of the cases that have happened in England and to people who are a few streets away from you or a borough away, I think those are the worst cases.
What consistency do you see? So, for example, when I listen to Dateline, as soon as they start with a couple, I'm like, yeah, the husband did it.
Yeah.
More often than not, I'm always like, it's the husband that did it. They'll do, or the wife did it. Like, couples be killing each other a lot on these things. What are the reoccurring things? I'm like, oh, this seems to be what, or is it scary because there are no reoccurring themes?
Well, no, I think definitely, the husband did it is a trope that is, it's a trope for a reason.
Yeah.
But also, one of the scariest things are the family annihilators. So a family annihilator is usually a man who kills his family, and there are different reasons for it. So, and reasons, of course, there is no reason.
Yeah.
But for him, there are different reasons for it. And if you take Chris Watts from America, and that was an American family. You know,
The one that took
documentary.
his family to
And
kids
he killed his wife and then killed his two children because he wanted a new life. But then sometimes it's because maybe they're in debt or they've done something that's too embarrassing and they don't want their partner to know and they don't want people to know.
Yeah.
So they annihilate their family. And more often than not, they usually take their own lives. But sometimes they don't if they have another woman or if they have another life that they would prefer to do that. And the family annihilation really scares me because you often don't see it coming, but it's been a planned thing where somebody has put together a series of events that they are now going to carry out because they have decided that they don't want themselves to be embarrassed or they don't want themselves to continue with this. And it's like, you haven't thought about anybody else. Because, okay, you left me.
Just when I was watching that American family thing, I was like, but why
Just
didn't you just
leave.
leave?
Yeah, I'd much rather
Why
you just
didn't
dumped
you just
me instead
leave
of
her?
take
Like,
my life
you
and my
could have
kid's
just
life.
been like, hey, I've got a new partner, I don't want to do this. She'll cry, it'll be messy. Hey, everyone's still alive.
Everyone
You can
lives
even
and
ghost.
gets on.
I'm
Yeah.
not saying
Yeah,
ghost
yeah,
your wife.
yeah,
I'm not saying
yeah.
that. But when
It's
the
better than-
alternative
If the
is
option,
some,
course,
just
like,
leave
how
and
does-
go buy
yeah.
milk. That's a
How
go
is that
move to
even an
Florida
alternative?
and
Go
never
say
talk to them again.
You're going to buy milk and never
Exactly, but I feel like that premeditated thing. I don't know. You know, like I just think that's the next level of evil.
No, it is. Yeah,
because
yeah.
before, like, you know, like when things are so fucked up, like you almost try to find like justifications because you need to rationalize why people are moving this mad. Because it makes you feel better. Like if there's a reason and there's like there's a domino effect as to how we got here, like I can rationalize that. But like, would you like that whole premeditated thing? Like, I've come to the conclusion that like some people are just evil, you know.
But I err on the side of caution of calling people evil. I used to all the time.
Yeah.
I used to be like, oh, they're a monster. He's evil. He's this. He's that. And the reason why now I don't like calling people evil is because I think it removes the humanity from them, and then you start thinking that you could never be that person.
Yeah.
So when you're like, that person's evil, that person's a monster, you're taking the humanity out of them. But no, they're a human being who did that, and we have to find out why so we can stop human beings from doing this.
Yeah.
But I do think it's really easy, and sometimes you don't have a better word for it because the action is evil.
Yeah.
And especially when it comes to children and when it comes to like sexual assault and things like that, there is no excuse for that sort of crime. There is no reason. You can justify any crime to a certain extent. If somebody's starving, they might steal something. If somebody's trying to hurt you, you may kill them. But when it comes to abuse of children, hurting children, and sexual assault, that it's inexcusable. So it's really difficult. But I do err on the side of caution personally. I err on the side of caution just because I think that labeling someone, oh, this is an evil doctor, an evil nurse, an evil this, an evil that, it makes you think that,
puts
And
them
it
over
takes the
there.
responsibility away. Like, they're just evil.
like you
Yeah,
said,
like
are
humans are not capable of
they're just
such,
mad
yeah.
and bad.
Yeah.
Rather
Exactly.
than
Rather than
it being But some of the cases are dark.
And some of them as well, I listen to it, it's like they're never as smart as they think they are. Like, they're just never, like, you hear someone that planned to go kill his wife, and you took her on a hike and she didn't come back. Oh, she tripped him. Like, it's always like, have you not listened to other episodes? Like, have you
And
not
we
done
obviously
research?
thank God they're stupid.
Yeah,
We don't
like,
want them to be
yeah,
smart.
Yeah, we don't want to.
Or they take their phone with them and they don't realise the phone, 3G or 4G or whatever, is connected to some wires so that people know where you were at a certain point. So
it's actually so mad. Like, even with this whole like Diddy case, like how they're even able to access text messages from like 2012.
Okay, so what are the rules?
Because I'm
with,
like,
are there specific rules to be like, because right now you can't just take my phone and find them. Like, why are you then allowed to be like, oh, we can talk here? Does that make sense? We can take this information.
Oh, just if you have a warrant.
So they can just go through your phone and...
Yeah,
but like,
so
can they access messages? Because I wouldn't have any messages from 2012, but God forbid I was, on the stand for any reason.
Yeah.
And they needed that as evidence. Would they be able to get that?
Not necessarily.
No, I don't think so.
Oh,
But that's why...
Because I know Cassie kept all her phones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
you don't keep the phone. And that's
okay.
why WhatsApp tries to sell itself as this like...
Encrypt.
they can never get your information. But I don't know how true that is
I don't
either.
think that's true at all.
Well, with WhatsApp.
I mean, we do believe that it's true.
The ad was obviously Spotify. I don't have to do that again. Please.
no, but
That ad was 5 years ago. Please, we can talk.
with WhatsApp, what they're actually saying, and it's weird, I saw that advert yesterday. But with WhatsApp, what they're saying is that when you send a message, nobody can read it while it's being sent. So like when it goes up into the cloud to then go through and then get sent to your phone, it's just a jumble of numbers and pictures or whatever. like letters, and then when it gets to your phone, it becomes a message.
Words.
So if somebody's looking in as a third party, if WhatsApp's trying to look in, they just see a bunch of code. But if I have your phone,
You can see the
I
message.
can see it because
Okay,
it's
so
a,
is
it's
there
a
any
message.
world where those codes could ever be interpreted into words?
Not necessarily.
Ever. I'm
not
no.
bothered about that though.
No,
Well, not for me. I'm just technology-wise.
just for the criminals out there, you know.
Yeah,
you need some help.
So with like just a normal messaging, as it's going through the air, you can see that I'm like, hey, where are you?
no, it's blush. And then when it gets to your phone,
It's where are
hey,
you?
how are you?
But if I'm like just like texting,
WhatsApp.
hey, where are you? It will be from when I sent it to me.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So they advertise it as like so imagine if like we are on video chat.
Yeah.
They can't see our faces. It's just pixelated if they were to look in.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like see it.
I don't
Yeah,
give a
no,
damn.
I don't give a shit.
yeah.
But I feel like, do you know, when you ever been on the phone and it suddenly sounds like someone's gone underwater?
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, they're tapping in your phone. You can blah, blah, blah,
Or
blah.
it gets echoey.
Yeah, I'm convinced that's like, they're tapping your
Hello,
phone.
FBI, how are
I'm
you?
actually convinced that's what
Hey,
it is because
y'all.
nothing else makes more sense. But also, what I want to know about is the technology behind saying something and then seeing an ad for it.
Your phone's listening to you. This is
No, but
this
what
is me
about-
being a
what-
conspiracy
What
theorist,
is when
by
it's
the
your
way.
thoughts though? Because my thing is my thoughts. Like sometimes I
think you've maybe said it before.
But
you
haven't you
realised.
heard?
I haven't
Haven't you heard
verbalised
that
it.
thing where they say that on TikTok, it can hear if you laugh at things?
Don't say that.
That wouldn't
So then,
surprise me. because my
so
algorithm
it's
is
like if you
mental.
laugh at stuff, it shows you more. I saw a TikTok about it, and it was like they stopped laughing at anything, and they just didn't react to anything, and then all of a sudden they're looking at random indigenous people building wells because TikTok didn't know what to show
Didn't
them.
know what to give them.
Yeah. So because your phones be listening, man.
The phones are
I'm
definitely
convinced the phones are listening.
The
It's-
phones
it's
are
too
definitely
much of
listening. It's
a-
not. It's too much of a coincidence. We all have that experience. But I think I was talking about it here a couple of weeks ago about how certain apps know how many selfies you've deleted. So if you delete a whole bunch of selfies, then suddenly you get hit with a beauty ad. Because they can determine that you feel insecure about certain aspects of your face or whatever. So then the next thing you know, you open Instagram and then here you are, skincare or makeup, whatever it may be.
You're a conspiracy theorist as well. Yeah. You two are a bit
That
into
sounds
it.
accurate to me.
That sounds, yeah.
And Tony's like,
Yeah.
what one is it?
What day is it today?
Yeah.
Do you know what it is? I can't afford to be,
But I don't mind.
Like, like if I went into, and there's nothing I do in halves. So then it will be my world. So you'll be like trying to figure out a conspiracy theorist. And I was just going mad.
Do you know who the biggest conspiracy theorist is? Nadia.
Is she?
Is she?
Yeah, she is proper into all of
I
that.
knew I liked her.
Yeah, she's proper into it and she knows a lot of
Like,
things.
catch me on the wrong or right day. You can
Yeah.
put me in a cult. I'm joking.
Of all the things that you could have said, I didn't know you were going to say that.
Yeah. And that's been very. There's certain cults. I'm not a dickhead. Go away.
Yeah, I mean,
like
come
if
on.
someone's like, "Hey, I'm Jesus," and
Yeah,
like that one, I'm
No,
like,
that one
nah.
I will be 50-50.
What can get you into a cult? Like, as in, what can someone say to you? You'd be like, "Okay, that sounds believable."
Absolutely nothing.
Free childcare.
Unless it's something to do with money. Do you know what? I'm surprised I didn't get got by more pyramid schemes and stuff back in the day.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because I feel like that could have got me.
Do you
Because
know what's
any
a cult
quick
that
money
did
making
get me?
thingy.
Avon.
Avon, did it get you?
Avon got me.
Avon
No,
got
but
you.
no, but you know what though? We need to
Avon.
put some respect on Avon's name. That's not a cult.
It's a pyramid
That's
scheme, though.
that's
Yeah.
but they have
got me though.
high-
It's MLM marketing, ML. Mary Kay is for sure MLM,
Yeah.
which is basically like, it's a pyramid scheme, babe.
No, but I'm talking about the products of Avon.
Bangs.
Bangs, yeah.
It's so
They're coming back,
good.
you know. I think they
Yeah.
might
They
be back.
should come back.
But I think it's
I
direct
miss
to
them.
consumer.
I
Okay,
miss them.
yeah, see?
Yeah.
I miss them.
We will never. I remember the woman opposite us was the Avon lady, and they'll drop the catalogs into your thing every single month. And like, growing up, there's nothing I love more than catalogs.
Of course.
Yeah, catalogs with the thing.
Avon, Argos, Little Woods. Oh my god, I loved a catalog.
I'll be suckling the kickers.
Yeah.
I imagine like it was like my fantasy life.
Yeah.
And I'll open it. First I start with clothes, and I'll just start
Yeah.
circling all these clothes
And
like
then
in my
you gotta
dream
say
world.
toys for last.
Yes.
Oh
I'll
my
go
God,
to
toys.
and I'll start circling. And you know with Avon, you do it, you get the code and you enter it into your little
Yep.
into the
little
thing.
book.
And I would be like, oh, if I just sneak it in, my mum won't see it every single time. Tiny, come here.
What is code
Take out the thing.
A1066?
I'm like, oh, just a lip gloss. I remember the one time she let us buy a lip gloss from Avon.
Oh, you
And
must
I
have
think we
felt
put the
like
code
you
thinking
made it.
she was going to take it off and throw it in the bin anyway, because she used to do it. And then it came.
It
Yeah, she was like, I
came.
can't take your lip gloss. And I was like,
Oh my God.
She said,
oh my God, this is the
You've got to
Best day
savor
of my
every
life.
crumb of that lip
Nah,
gloss.
being a kid growing up with no money, catalogs were your
No, catalogs were the shit.
It
I
was like
remember
a dream world.
the one thing that I wanted more than anything in life was the Dear Diary or the Secret Diary back in the day. Do you remember those digital diaries?
Digital
Oh
diaries,
my
yeah.
God. And I remember because Secret Diary was the better version. And it was neon pink, and Dear Diary was kind of like it was still good, but it wasn't Secret
Was it
Diary.
the purple one?
It was more purpley.
Yeah.
And so I remember I wanted Secret Diary, but it was always out of stock. So then I ended up settling for Dear Diary.
Diary.
But then I checked, and then Secret Diary was back in stock, and my mum was like, "You made your decision." And I was like, "No."
Do you remember the best gift you ever got as a child?
Tamagotchi.
Tamagotchi was, yeah.
When the Tamagotchis were in,
Yeah.
I remember it was Christmas, and my mum used to buy us. We were so poor, but we had like 30 Christmas presents each.
Yeah.
Obviously, pound shop
Yeah,
bags.
yeah.
Back of a lorry, and I looked under the Christmas tree, and she wasn't very good at wrapping presents, and I saw the back of the Tamagotchi, and it wasn't a Tamagotchi. It was
But
just
it was
a
the version.
digipet.
Yeah,
Right,
but,
okay,
of
yeah.
course.
But I remember seeing it and knowing it was one, and every day I would just be looking at it
can't
for the
wait.
whole of
Just
December.
And you just tear it a little
and
bit
then
more
and then
every
I
day.
finally got it, and then within like 3 days,
You're over it.
It died, man.
Oh yeah, I
because
couldn't
you
keep
got
them
them off in
alive.
24 hours
Yeah,
a
you
day.
do.
Yeah, I couldn't
Do you
look
remember the
after
little
them.
slime things? And someone said you put it in the fridge to have babies.
Yeah, the
that was
aliens.
those little
Aliens.
alien things. No, my best present I ever got, honestly, was my bike. My first proper bike. I would have been like maybe 9 or 10. It was for my birthday. Oh my God, it was like metallic pink.
Come on.
Oh my God. And it had like, the bell it wasn't a normal bell, you know?
Yeah.
Like that bell was like on stuff. And it was just, it was so dope. And I remember I got the helmet and everything. I was so happy. That was my best gift.
I don't mean to sound ridiculous, but my best gift was Sky TV. No, you guys hear me out. I'm not even being funny.
Bumblebee
We
game.
didn't. Thank you. We didn't have Sky, right? But when you went to like your family's house, you'd saw. Do you know the remote was the Sky remote
Yeah.
control
Iconic.
was iconic,
Yeah.
and I'd see it at people's houses, and just we had 1 to 5. We didn't have Sky, and I remember one Christmas, I remember Mum just put the remote control on the thingy. And I looked at it and I looked down to see the box and I was like, I've got Sky TV. And we spent hours just like all
Flicking
these
through the
options that wasn't 1 to
channels.
5 anymore. And it was
Yeah.
honestly, it opened my world to be, and then
Yeah.
you're hearing like Americans, you're watching
Remember
Nickelodeon,
Living TV.
Living TV.
you're watching Trouble. And it's just like,
Yeah.
Trouble.
Wait,
My
there's
brother,
life.
I've got another brother, who's not Collar.
yeah.
And my brother always tells a story, of how he knew that me and Collar were crackheads, when he came down one day and me and Collar were dancing to the TV, you know, the Sky TV, you know, remember, it was rhythms, you know,
Yeah,
and we were
yeah,
dancing
yeah.
to it, and he walked in and was like, "What
So what?
are you guys doing?" Like,
Television back in the days were like
TV used to actually.
and then that's
used
when
to
you
hit.
had Channel U.
Yo.
Yeah. Nah, shout out
Yo.
Channel U, man. Shout
You know,
out
one of my
those
first
days.
presenting jobs was doing the
Was
the chart
it?
countdown
Oh,
for
is it
Channel
the
U.
chart with what's his
Ah.
Poet.
poet? Yeah.
How long did you do that for?
I don't remember.
Wait, what was your journey? Talk us through it.
Oh, well, when I graduated from uni, I didn't do anything really. I was just like working at bars and stuff. And then one day I was inside, like it was either Superdrug or Asda. I don't remember which one. And I was with Collar, and we heard Superdrug FM. I'm sure it was Superdrug.
Yeah. Till today,
Yeah,
Superdrug
they
will
still
not
got-
buy the rights
yeah, they
to
still
music.
got- yeah.
They won't
And
do
then
it.
the woman came on and she was like, "That was Ollie Murs, and it's 2 for 1 on Tresemme." And I was like, I could do that.
Yeah.
I can do that.
Yeah.
And then a friend of a friend ran Rinse FM. So I've got a really good friend called Dion, and she knew Genius, who owns Rinse. And then it was Christmas, and we went to Yellow on Christmas Day, like a dance.
Yeah.
And then Genius was there, and I didn't drink alcohol, so I was sitting there quite bored.
Yeah.
And then he was like, "Oh, you're funny. Like you could do radio." And I thought he was doing the honey treatment. You know, it's like you could be in music videos.
Yeah.
And I was like,
You're pretty.
and he was like, "You should come and you should audition." And then so I filled out the application form. I went there, and weirdly, my brother had his first audition for a play. This is before he was acting in Peckham, and our friend Rachel Delahaye had like put him forward for this audition. He was too scared to go by himself, so I went with him to the Bussy building to do the audition, and then I had the option to be in this play or go to Rinse FM and learn how to do radio. And then I decided to go to radio. He did the play, and then he ended up getting signed and stuff like that. And then when I went to Rinse, I met Julie, who taught me how to do radio.
Yeah.
So it kind of, we started in exactly the same place, and then that sort of fractured off.
Oh,
But it was like the same week that both of us decided what we wanted to do. And then once I was at Rinse for a few years, I moved on to Capital Extra. But it's jokes because I just like made a demo of myself talking for a minute, and different subjects, so 17 seconds or whatever, whatever. And I just sent it to lots of different radio stations until somebody got back to me.
That's still my
that's
dream.
when, that's
to do
when people
radio,
used to work.
That's
be
when
good on radio,
people,
though.
I would love. It was like I really wanted to do it. That was my thing. I was about broadcast journalism. I'm going to work on radio, and I
Radio's
don't.
fabulous,
Yeah, I feel like, but the commitment to it now, though.
but it's a job. This is Remy, who does One Extra. I always tell her that, you know, I know you want to do loads and you want to do more, and all of us want to do more. But the bottom line is, you have a very good job.
Yeah.
And you know that gratitude of not posting, oh, I've been here and I'm doing this, that on your anything like that, because people who work in average jobs don't necessarily are not so grateful.
Yeah.
But knowing that you have that skill set that you can always go back to.
Yeah.
I know if you know it kind of falls by the wayside. Radio is a very legitimate skill.
Absolutely.
That is not that easy to do. You know, on
Oh,
telly.
I've tried. I'm just like, wow, this is hard.
it's
Yeah.
difficult. And you know, trying to think of the different things to say about these
Yeah.
tunes.
Exactly.
But it's a skill.
I
and
remember I
it's
did a
hard.
demo once and
Yeah.
I listened to it. I was like, they're like, you have to say facts or something, and there's something fun. I'm like, I got nothing to say about Cisco
it's
Thong
hard.
Song.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
remember-
fun fact about Cisco Thong Song, it's 3 of the same verses, so he doesn't ever change. It's a scam.
Wait, what?
So, ooh, that girl's so scandalous, and you know another can't handle this. That's the
checking
first
that thing,
verse,
like,
the second verse, and it's the bridge.
Oh, snap.
So see,
So
this
he
is,
just
and that's
keeps
radio. That
going.
I
That you know
listened to
that.
the song and I thought, oh gosh,
I've
like
learned something new today.
yeah.
And with radio, I think there's a reason why I said Cisco Thong Song. I think it came up in the demo. I think there's actually a reason why I said it. Yeah.
I did not clock that.
You have this core audience that listens to you every, like,
And they become your mates.
Yeah, they're proper committed.
my niece and nephew are obsessed with you.
Yeah.
No. Like I think I made you do a video, and I was like, please, you have to say hi to them because you were in there. You like every
The school
morning.
run,
That was you're their person. Like I remember when you left, and she was like, "Wait, where's Yinka?" I was just like, "Oh, she's got a new job now."
Yeah.
She moved on. I was like, people move on. They're like,
Yeah.
"But we listen to her every morning." I was like, "Okay, fine. Shayla's still there. Go listen to her every morning."
No, it is bloody hard because I used to co-host on Westside FM with my friend Alex. Oh my God, he had a show. And one time he was running late. So he was like, oh, you're going to have to hold the fort. And I was like,
Yeah,
like, I didn't know what to do with
And
the
you gotta
buttons.
drive
I was
the
like,
desk.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, no,
Yeah,
this
yeah,
shit
yeah.
is hard. I mean,
No,
he
it
threw me
ain't
under the bus.
easy.
I had no like
It's
experience.
always funny when you can
But
hear
it-
when someone's late in the radio show.
Yeah,
It was like
literally.
logging it out to the next show. You're like, oh,
yeah,
God.
but it was bloody hard. But speaking of radio, yeah, and obviously you had like a very like organic come up in the industry. Like, how do you feel now when people? She knows
like
where I'm
a
going.
bitch. I know.
She knows where I'm
She's
going with
going.
it. She knows where I'm going. How do you feel about people being handed opportunities? Because it feels like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel about it?
I'm not bothered. Do you know what it is? Yeah. If somebody wants to hand me an opportunity, I'll take it.
Yeah.
So why would I be upset that other people are being handed opportunity?
Yeah.
The bottom line is everybody's journey is their own journey. I haven't been like handed things without putting in 10,000 hours and plus of work. And that's just my reality. I often find that if it's kind of like winning the lottery. If you don't earn the money, you spend it really quickly. And that's the same thing with opportunities. Both of us could be given the same opportunity. You Monday, me Tuesday. It will go very differently for both of us because of our lived experience. So it doesn't make me, I think it can make you feel insecure because I think presenting is quite an insecure job.
Yeah. We were
You
talking about
know?
it earlier to be
Yeah.
like, hey, you want to take some time off, but you dare.
Yeah.
By the time you come back, there's a new babe doing whatever
Yeah.
you
And they don't remember somebody that they used to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally.
So,
yeah.
but and it's like even with us three, all we could be up for the same jobs all the time.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
You know, and we just have to accept that about our dynamic and about the reality of our situations. I don't ever get really insecure about that stuff because what's not meant for me,
Yeah.
it's not meant for
And
me.
you have to learn
Yeah.
that, right? Because the thing about this industry is, do you know, like if you apply for a job and you don't get it, you don't see who gets it.
Yeah.
But this, you
Facts,
see
yeah.
it. Like, as in, like, it's announced. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, they got it.
and
Yeah.
they put clusters in
Yeah.
their vision.
You're like, oh, that's who you gave it to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can't because it's not meant for you, and there's a reason why you didn't get it.
Yeah.
I never get too affected by what other people are doing because I'm just a bit busy. Like, and I'm not even busy doing other jobs. I'm just a bit like busy in my life.
Busy, yeah.
But I think it's a really healthy way to look at it. I'm not in love with my job. Like, it's not the reason that I wake up in the morning. It's not the reason that I'm going to bed at night. I don't think about it on the weekend. I enjoy it, and I think it's really fulfilling. But ultimately, I'm in love with other people in my life. I'm in love with
Yeah.
other situations, and this is something that enables me to, you know, live somewhat freely. I find it funny when I see that, you know, someone's been handed something, but you also don't know the story.
Yeah, it's very true.
Yeah,
You really
and
do.
luckily I've been able to exist. It's so funny because I feel like I still feel like a kid, but I've been working in media for more than 10 years.
more than
And
10
hopefully
years.
it will continue.
Yeah.
Long may it
And you
continue.
see people come and go, and you see, fireworks is what I call it. It's really loud, it's really bright, and then it's kind of gone and you don't think about it again.
Did you-
Hopefully I'm not a firework.
No,
Of
you're
course not. Did
firework.
you enjoy Unapologetic?
Yeah. But it was a very different type of show to what I'm used to. I feel like I was there as a presenter, and to be very honest, I don't have like opinions on everything. And it's not to say that I'm opinionless or that I'm worried or anything.
But not everything needs your
But
attention.
yeah,
I believe that.
and I found it like a very stark lesson in what it is to get the attention that you think that you've always wanted. Because I always thought that I wanted people to know who I was, or I wanted people to, to go viral
Be
and
a
to do all that
household
sort of
name.
stuff. And then
You
when
are
it
a
happened,
household name.
yeah, but like,
Not in,
in
there's
your
different
house,
ways.
There's different
Yeah,
ways,
there's
yeah.
different ways.
Yeah,
yeah, and I always
Yeah.
thought that I wanted that stamp of visibility. And then when I got it,
Yeah.
I was calling Zizi like, "Is this how you exist?"
Yeah, yeah.
And she was like, "Don't worry, it's fine." I was like, "No, man, it's not."
How often do I say, but how do people, how
Yeah,
are you
so-
okay with, like,
Yeah, but that's the thing about thick skin, right? And I guess if that's your currency as well.
Yeah.
But for me, it's that I'm so used to people talking about the work that I've done.
Yeah.
and not what I thought about
you.
something.
Yeah.
or like,
yeah.
or not me sitting on a sofa while a conversation's happening.
Yeah,
or,
yeah,
or
yeah.
something that I've said. And also, I'm somebody who makes jokes all the time, and that can be taken out of context
Yeah.
or whatever it is. So when I got like that type of attention, I thought you need to be happy with your little.
Yeah.
Do your show, go
This
home.
is showing you that you don't want
yeah,
this.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it was, and it's a really good example. I think it happened early enough on in my TV career to know that like you don't have to go fishing for attention, because once you can never control the type of
turn it off.
attention it is,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and you can and you can't turn it off, and you can't unsee certain things. Because I remember actually the day that like Unapologetic went like whoom was the day of the King Richard premiere, and I was there and I
Yes,
saw
yeah,
you,
yeah, yeah.
and I remember
They had a big chat
yeah,
about it,
and we
yeah.
were talking about it, and I was like, it's so funny because I'm getting cooked, but I have to go and interview Will Smith, and
you
like
know
it
how-
was like, and I was like,
Yeah,
I
that's
was like,
mad.
I'm shaking, but it teaches you that you don't have to
Yeah.
never complain, never explain.
No,
Yeah,
honestly,
never
getting cooked and then having to go to an event.
to
Yeah,
work.
no, it's actually
Because
no,
you know
but
everybody there knows what's
You know how
happening.
you guys were gonna cry earlier? I'm gonna cry
Yeah.
now.
No, no, no.
because
I'm
No, it's
remembering
actually
it.
awful.
Because
It's
you know
awful.
everybody
Yeah.
around you
I'm
know.
fully
The day I
aware.
was getting cooked on
Yeah.
the internet. There was an NSG dinner. Oh my God.
and you're there with lashes on.
yeah,
Bruv.
no, literally.
And I remember going there, and thank God for Julie. Like, because like she is a great friend and also knows the industry,
Yeah.
right? So this bitch, at the time I didn't find it funny, but now I'm like, I know why she did it. She started
Yeah.
reading them to me and she was cackling. She's like, someone said this, that's mad.
That's what Shayna
You've got
did
to-
to me.
you've got to
You started
reduce it,
cackling, and I
yeah.
was like, eventually I was just like, yeah. She was like, Tony, it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah. Do you know what Shayna did to me? And I think it's the perfect, because anybody, even you lot who are listening, yeah, it doesn't matter what you do for a living, they will cook you one day.
Oh,
Okay.
everyone's
Yeah.
turn.
Oh my God,
Everyone's
in
turn.
your
Everyone
community,
gets
That's
turn.
our,
Chat, they're
new
gonna
mantra
cook you.
now.
Oh,
We
yeah, yeah.
always say that everyone gets their day.
Everyone
in full.
gets
Where we used to
their day.
try to play safe for it's never happened. Then it happens, you're like, oh, fuck
Yeah,
off.
because the thing is, they'll
whatever.
cook you for playing it safe.
Yeah,
Or
after
whatever.
the third time it
Yeah.
happened to me, I realized that I'm just a
Yeah.
piece of beef.
Yeah,
like it's
yeah,
fine.
yeah, whatever.
But you know what Shayna did the first time it ever happened, and it was at the King Richard premiere. She was like, "What you do, yeah, is just wait like an hour, yeah." And I was like, "Cool." Then she took my phone, she opened it, she started reading every
Started
message to
reading
me,
it to me, yeah.
and I thought she hates me. Like, you actually hate me. And then she went, "Do you want to go through all 200 of these messages?" And I was like, "No, it's long." She was like, "Exactly."
Yeah.
So if you
Yeah.
open your phone every 5 seconds, yeah, you're gonna see
You're
every
seeing all of it
single
as they
thing
come in. Yeah,
Every
yeah.
time you've settled, then it kind of re-hits
She's
you
like, but
again.
if you wait
Yeah.
like an hour or two and then you see like 200 or 1,000 or whatever it's message, you're like, all of you lot are messaging. I ain't got time to go through
Yeah,
this.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it is a lesson, but like, bro,
The shame.
Yeah,
It's the
getting cooked online
shame.
is not
It's
the
because you
one.
know everyone's talking about you and you just have to like.
But the comfort of going to an industry thing is that they're probably the only people that are going to get it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And there's a
yeah.
code of conduct because no one ever comes up to you and is like, "Rob, boy, like you bitch, like you were
Yeah,
getting this."
yeah,
They were
yeah.
saying
It
this
was
on
like, you
Shade
good,
Bar,
you're
blah,
right,
blah,
yeah,
blah.
yeah.
Yeah,
you good, yeah? I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm like, your hand is shaking.
But it's a different because normally you're right. It's like you're right.
Yeah, yeah, they get it. It's like I can't go online and back you,
Yeah,
but I see you, sis.
you know I'm on your side.
And that's the funny thing. It's like people, and you actually don't need people to back you ever.
No,
Like,
I don't think we
not
should.
Even,
In fact, I
no.
tell people not to.
Yeah, I don't
No,
want people
don't
to
be
jump
like,
on.
don't
I'm
get
not
involved. It longs out the story. Just
it really does.
let me get cooked.
I think everyone should just leave everyone to it because everyone's going to get their day. And just know that behind the scenes, like if you want to hit me up and just be like, I see, like I appreciate, but I don't want you getting involved in exacerbating the situation.
I remember early days, I used to think, why is not everyone should be backing each other? But you're like, yeah, actually, I hear why you don't.
No.
Because then if I say something about the situation, then the headline is, oh, this person has said this, and then
now you're getting cooked.
Exactly, but then they start digging into your stuff, and it's like, oh, you want to talk, but didn't ... and it's just like no, and I never asked you.
This you?
Yeah, exactly. This you.
Has that died down?
Yeah.
I've not been on Twitter for like years
Same.
now.
Even
is
me, I
this
haven't
you still
been-
a
No, I
thing?
don't know.
I don't use it
Twitter in
anymore.
so long
Yeah, I
as
haven't
well
used
now.
it.
I try to avoid
And I'm
it.
actually genuinely happier.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I'm not missing it.
It's not even that sad thing. Now I know what my thoughts are, other than what people have told me to think. But I'm like, oh, what do you think about this
I don't
situation?
think that we're supposed to have that many thoughts
We're
in
not.
our
Yeah,
brain.
it's
every
too
day.
much.
We're absolutely
man.
not.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
absolutely not.
Yeah,
like
no.
so often I'm just like, oh, shut up, man.
Yeah,
like
no.
to everything. Like, oh, if everyone just shut the fuck up and just let me. I can't remember last night I'm actually like hearing myself.
Yeah.
Rather than, oh, I saw this TikTok or I
Yeah,
saw this
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
I'm just
exactly.
hearing other people's
Now,
things.
what I do is because I do very much like to indulge in TikTok, but now I formulate my thought before I go to the comments. Because before, sometimes I wouldn't even get to the end of a video and I'll go and read the comments and I'm like, what's everyone saying? And then I'll think that and I'll like ingest that as my opinion. But it's like, no, think.
Bitch.
Like, think, bitch. This is not ChatGPT. Think. What is your actual opinion on this?
No,
What
but
is your
honestly,
thoughts on
that
this?
should be the slogan of 2025.
Think, bitch.
Think, bitch. Like, think. Yeah. Like before you seek for help, think, bitch. Like, as in, take a moment and think, fuck.
Yeah,
Have a concise
have a
thought
think.
that's
Yeah,
yours.
yeah.
Have a think about
Yeah.
things. Jesus
Critical thinking,
Christ.
but-
Yeah.
No,
It's
for
gone. We've
real.
lost it.
Yeah.
Everyone's an idiot.
For real.
But anyway, what's going on? What's up? What's next? Because we're taking a lot of your time. Where can
I
everybody
like
find
hanging
you?
out with you guys. Before I go, I do need to talk about a podcast.
Please do.
Yes, please.
Yeah, and actually, I
This
think
is your moment.
It's actually one of my favorite projects that I've ever worked on. It's called Out of Frame, and it's in association or commissioned by, should I say, Warner Brothers Leaves and Studios.
Oh.
And it's by Crew HQ, and they're an initiative to get underserviced communities into the film industry, but below the
sick.
line.
Okay.
So it's so weird. I didn't know this before I started working with Crew HQ. But when you talk about below the line, it's like an actual line in pre-production. So you've got higher level talent and then a budget line and then everyone below the line. So like higher level are the directors, the stars, the writers. And then below the line is everybody else, from hair and makeup artists to stunt coordinators to office staff. And as you know, media is who you know, and a lot of us don't know people. So each week I talk to somebody who is at the top of their field, but like a below the line person.
Okay.
And they give real tangible advice and tools and resources for people like us and beyond to get into the film industry and to get their feet on the ground and to have that experience. So it's been really fun to do. I've met some really cool people. I met this costume designer, Jenny Bevan, who won an Oscar for her costumes but got cussed for what she was wearing, like on the
The irony.
which was hilarious. And recently, I don't think this episode's out yet because I recorded it yesterday, but I met a lady called Sharon who is a hair and makeup designer, and she's done everything from The Last King of Scotland, Blood Diamond, to Cats,
Oh, wow.
to Matilda.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And she's a black lady who is really, really passionate about not only representation of skin color but hair textures. So she does like she did a Victorian movie where it was black people, and she did the Victorian shapes and stuff like that. But like trying to get people who don't know about the film industry into the industry, and there's like, you know, workshops and courses and things like that people can go on, and it's really, because I do the premieres and post premieres, and you are talking to the stars and you are talking to the directors. It's really cool to get behind that curtain.
I'll be honest, growing up and not knowing what I wanted to do, all the initiatives that the government was doing, all of the workshops, all of the things like that, that's what actually genuinely helped me. I think if there wasn't like we're running a course for 16 to 14 year olds, like as in I would have had
Connections.
I would have had no,
I
every incentive that was going on, I took every single one. Oh, there's a radio incentive here, cool, do it. There's this course, this workshop here, cool, do it. And the older I've got, realized there's not much of that. So to have something like this where it's actually, because all the time you're like, oh, how do I go? I don't know how to do it now. I know how to do it there because I signed up for the barking and dagging and blah, 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 blah. And I did this, I did this, I did the newspaper. But to do it now, I actually don't know how you do it
Yeah,
now.
it was like a whole different process back
Yeah.
then.
Because now you go viral, right? And
exactly.
that's not fair.
But like you said, that's firework.
And also if you want to be like, not if it's presenting, if you want to do like real work and, you know, like make documentaries or whatever, that's not going to necessarily come from
a viral thing.
being funny on the tube. And also, if you want to do something as specific as like stunt coordination, how on earth are you meant to, if your uncle, dad, neighbor, godfather, whoever it is, doesn't know anybody or they aren't the person, it's difficult to get into it.
Yeah.
But like a few of the kids who have gone through Crew HQ, they've gone on to be like, you know, do lighting on Beetlejuice, or they've gone on to work on, you know, if it's like House of the Dragon or whatever shows that are out there, and then you meet people, and then they call you back, and then they call you back, and then before you know it, you have a job in this industry. So it's really, I think that, especially when people ask me for advice all the time, and I'm like, first of all, the position is filled.
I'm doing it. Yeah.
But also, what I did, which was make a tape and send it to info@capitalextra.com or producer party at Capital Extra. I just tried all these emails. That wouldn't, who mans
Guess
that?
now they can just at them till they die.
But it just changes. Before, we would literally go outside a media company and hand your CV because you didn't know what else to do. You just go to reception and be like, can you give to someone that glamour, please? Because you're like, I don't know what to do.
I've told this story before. I did that. I was applying for a job at some magazine and I was like, I'm going to make sure I'm seen. I'm going to go there and hand it to the editor like in person. But then when I went home and I read the blueprint, the small print, and it said, do not show up.
Do not show up to the office.
It literally was like, do not show up in person. And I was like, oh my God. I showed up in person. I know my application went in the bin. Needless to say, I did not get the job because I didn't read the small print.
They regret it now.
Yeah,
they
exactly. Now.
But also just knowing there's certain jobs that are in it. Because you don't know something is a job, you don't know a stunt coordinator is a thing. Like you don't know.
I met an intimacy coordinator.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know that was a thing until this whole Blake Lively situation.
Yeah, but she has like pillows and stuff where people would rub themselves on it. It's really interesting. And that she even does. But you know, like she even does intimate scenes. No, but she even does intimate scenes like, you know, that are not just sexual. That are potentially traumatizing. And not just for the cast. For, you know, if they're dealing with violence or whatever it is, somebody who's filming might be triggered or something like that. So it's mad interesting.
Yeah.
But you know, even for me to get my first radio job, I burnt CDs. I used to just
do
go
that
sit in
anymore.
Rinse and be like, what do you guys need me to do? I'll do anything.
Oh, yeah,
so I could get a couple of hours with Julie in the afternoon to learn how to do radio. So it's like, but I don't know if that exists anymore. I don't know.
I don't know if that exists. I don't know if that hunger even exists like that anymore.
Yeah, because we used to pay to work. I used to work so many jobs to be able to do.
Oh my God! Like literally, the time I was in an internship, and then they didn't have to pay.
No,
I used to work to pay for myself.
You didn't get paid internships back then.
Remember the time I could not afford train ticket to go, and I got a bus from Dagenham to Central. I just kept 5 different buses because I was like, I need to go to this internship, but I ain't been paid yet. So what am I meant to do?
Same. I had an internship when I was working at Universal Music, and I did not have the money because I was working weekends to subsidize my internship. And one time I don't know what happened. I didn't get paid. I didn't have money, and I literally did not have the cash to get to Kensington. And I remember messaging my boss, and then he had to send me money so that I could come in. And he was literally like, what's your bank details? And he put like £15 in my account so I could get travel.
Yeah.
Stingy guy.
But like, exactly. Can you imagine? I was like, what about
Name
lunch?
and shame.
What about lunch, Brian?
£14.70.
He didn't think about my lunch. No, we had free lunch there. But still, that's a grind.
Yeah, I don't know if that hunger is still there.
But they don't have to be hungry. And I'm happy for people not to be hungry. Just because I suffered doesn't mean you have to come and suffer.
True.
But actually, sometimes that you know, you've got to boil an egg for it to be cooked. You know what I mean? You have to get some sort of like, I don't know, wind beneath your wings and I don't know, maybe. But I feel like an old lady when I say this.
Same. I feel they're like, oh, shut up. It's
like,
not.
Kids don't play out anymore.
They do all these things.
I don't know. I got the answer, swear.
Yeah.
That one I know.
But yeah, what's it called?
It's called Out of Frame.
And it's out everywhere now?
Yeah, you can get it everywhere you get your podcast.
Woo, the typical podcast line.
Yeah.
Everywhere you get your podcast.
I've always wanted to say that.
Thank you. Thank you so much, babe.
This was such a fun chat.
You know, we've been there for enough 2 hours.
Oh my God. No, but whenever we have friends on, we always do this.
Chat. Yeah. It
Always
goes for very long.
Yeah.
But it's just, I love it for us.
But yeah, thank you so much, my honey. I've been your girl, Tolly T.
Just call me Audrey.
And
I'm Yink Daddy.
I was going to agree as well.
bye.